Pixar's Cars has a unique legacy. It's an absolute punching bag of a franchise, and I agree, it's not great. But yet, it's unstoppable because of its merchandise sales and subsequent failed imitations.
Say, look at this! I've been cleaning out my nest, and I found an old book of my poetry.
Some of you may know that, like a lot of toddlers of the late 2000s, I was obsessed with Pixar's Cars. And in case you're 12 years old, in terms of audience reception, Pixar was a very different studio in the mid-90s to the late 2000s. But 2006's Cars was considered a dud installment by some, but 2011's Cars 2 was considered a dud installment by all, unless you were 7 years old, like me. Nowadays, Pixar really doesn't have a reputation for making complete fucking dog shit, but just making a lot of, yeah, that could be better. Cars was arguably a turd in the gold mine, but yet Cars is up there with Disney Princess and Mickey and Friends as one of the big dogs of Disney merch. Like, don't get me wrong, Cars has its fans, but like, it makes sense that Toy Story merch makes a bajillion dollars. People actually like those movies. Owen Wilson Carr's stupid fucking face hasn't left Walmart since 2006. I've been alive for 3 Toy Stories, and I've only seen Toy Story crap in retailers when a new movie is coming out. And I've been alive for every Cars, and they've never gone anywhere. If you're an unhinged Disney adult and you want a Woody doll, you can get it on Amazon, or at a Disney Parks gift shop or whatever. But not really at your local retailer if there's no new movie coming out. Cars, in terms of merchandise sales, is more profitable than you'd expect, given the lack of acclaim of the franchise. Meaning that they kind of unintentionally made a toy commercial with their first movie. And what came out after Cars? Ratatouille and WALL-E, way more beloved movies. But those don't have dedicated Walmart aisles in the 2020s. The merchandise success can easily be attributed to just great character design. Kids don't give a fuck about character development or whatever. You know, they're only there for fucking Tow Mater shitting himself. But by 2006, cartoon humanoid cars were nothing new, but Pixar made the genius decision of making the eyes on the windshield to better convey emotion. Unlike the typical headlight eyes of the rubber hose era cartoons, which allows the characters to be way more expressive. As stupid as the argument seen in Cars 2 is, at least they actually look both sad and angry. John Lasseter's specific inspiration for Cars was a Disney short from 1952 called Susie the Little Blue Coupe, which features the eyes on the windshield. And the character design team took that attribute to the next level and made hella bank off it, and they somehow made a merchandise juggernaut without acclaimed anything, really. Now, as a toddler of the Great Recession, I did not get to experience Blockbuster Video, but I did have ghetto Ohioan public shithole libraries. Those were my places to go to rent a movie for the weekend. It was a dad-approved activity because it was free. And on the shelves, I'd always see these random mockbusters. Mockbusters refer to random no-budget rip-off movies. And I'd always fucking see them at public libraries, but I never fucking watch them. I remember my preschool actually had a couple of them on the shelf. I was never forced to watch them, but I was forced to watch Weeble's Welcome to Weebleville.
Spaghetti Schlurp. Your booth is my favorite part of the Spaghetti Days celebration, Tibby.
They fucking celebrate spaghetti? What are they, Italian? I guess they were cheap for the library to buy or donate it in kind a lot because nobody wants to fucking watch this crap. So let's actually watch one. The Little Cars. I guess they have dwarfism or something. They say not to judge a book by its cover, but with Mockbusters you absolutely can because it's a DVD. And the first Cars movie is fucking burned into my brain so I can instantly identify who's ripping off who. There's fake Owen Wilson Carr, Chick Hicks because he's black, implying that he's evil. Wait, why is the villain black?
Crime, racism. Subject, African Americans.
And then this motherfucker is like the DeviantArt love child of Mater and Fillmore. And that's Doc because he's observing. And that's Sally because she's pink and all girls like pink. So we get introduced to our main duo, Cruz and Lugnut. Cruz is the Owen Wilson Carr ripoff and Lugnut is the Mater ripoff. And they work for like a racing supplies company, I think. An age gap autumn is among us, and Cruz wants to fuck the boss's niece.
Are you kidding? You have everything going for you. You're the real deal.
No, I'm not.
Every piece of dialogue is like a car pun because they're cars.
Those fenders, that rear bumper, and those headlights. Oh, those headlights. I can't get...
Now, of course, the actual cars had, like, allegorical visual gags of car equivalents of human things. Like the infamous titty headlight joke, the town being called Radiator Springs, the fact that they drink motor oil instead of brew.
Fool, gasoline is mid. Now, Normaline, on the other hand.
The lip syncing is awful and the mouth movement is so unhuman. When Owen Wilson Carr says, wow, his jaw actually fluctuates in a way that a human would despite being attached to a fender. Like the entire fender doesn't move with the mouth. Reminds me of the Peppermint Park puppets and their monkey mouths. Like, metals would never move this way. Why are they flapping like disjointed Muppets? So, Cruz starts talking about how badly he wants to fuck the boss's niece, and this conversation is the same shot over and over again, with one brief exception for 3 minutes. But oh no, the black one is getting bitches, and he has 4 fans. There's a ripoff of Strip the King Withers, and he's the champion because his name is literally the champion. The racing is just the ground moving, but not the cars moving like half the time. Then we get some epic commentary on capitalism.
We need to upgrade, but we don't have the money. The gas tank is empty, and so is our payroll.
So the boss and Lugnut decide that they're gonna gamble their life savings because the champ will win because he's the champion. The fucking ground is above the box office. But Cruz really wants to race, and there's even a ripoff of the Dinoco fantasy scenes from Cars 1. So it's revealed that the black one is actually Bill Cosby, and he goes into the racetrack after hours because he's black evil and roofies the gasoline, I think. Oh look, Comic Sans. So the champ can't race because of his roofied fuel, so Cruz decides to step in for him. Wait a second, did Little Cars rip off Cars 3? This came out in 2006, and 3 came out in 2017. Yeah, so both of these have endings of a yellow non-race car named Cruz stepping in and winning somehow. An ending which is complete dog shit in both instances. And then the Popos show up and the Cosby Show gets canceled. The Little Cars is... the Little Cars. What the fuck am I supposed to say about it? Guys, the animation is bad. It's only 33 minutes long. They didn't even try to make it feature length. But I guess for the company that made it, Video Branquedo, it was like snatching cash from granny's wallets. I mean, like, why else did I always see these in public libraries? So then they made another one. And 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 another one. There were like 9 million fucking Little Cars sequels. Now, I figured there was no fucking way they made 8 movies. And I was correct. They made one 33-minute short and 7 subsequent short compilations, ripping off what actual Cars was doing. Cars has had 3 series of shorts and a bunch of one-off shorts over the years. So there exist 7 short compilations advertised as movies to the thing that's not even a movie. It's like a mockbuster show, basically. These are like direct-to-video sequels of direct-to-video sequels. Like you thought 101 Dalmatians 3 Bongo loses his bone or whatever was bad? No, bitch. This is Negative Dalmatians 3. The fucking subtitles are ass. Fast and Curious? What are you, fucking George? New Genie Adventures? What? There was a fucking old genie. Big Adventures? Big pile of shit. Making a mess?
I'll make a mess in your fucking mama, bitch. Ha ha ha.
Nothing fucking happens in the shorts. They're all about 11 minutes long, which is like an episode of SpongeBob. You know, 11 minutes is enough to tell a story. The fucking Sally ripoff is voiced by Guptill's sweetheart, Amy Rose.
That's right, Tony! Show him what you can do! I know that you've got the moves and the drive to win this one!
And she is the most annoying voice. All she fucking does is scream about how sexy Tony is.
Tony, you are so awesome. He's the best.
Tony, I just wanna fucking suckle on your exhaust engine.
Like, shut up, bitch. Wait, his name isn't Tony, it's Cruz. Yeah, they fucking retconned the characters' names between sequels. Okay, whatever, you couldn't get the voice actor back, shit happens, but retconning your protagonist names? Bootleg Mater gets a girlfriend who has a fucking pentagram on her hood. I thought it was the Star of David at a distance because like Henry Ford hated Jews or whatever, but no, 5 points. That's a fucking pentagram. Is she supposed to be emo? Like, why does she have that? Guys, even bootleg Disney is woke. Emo tow truck works for the news and she lies about the race. So the moral of the story is don't fuck the Hello Kitty girl and don't trust the news. Based morals all around. Bill Cosby comes back and dies. There's a concert scene which features Papa's Got a New Bag by James Brown. Which they totally didn't license because, well, they clearly fucking didn't. Guess you could say they dodged a lawsuit. Wait, why is the black one selling drugs?
Crime, racism. Subject, African Americans.
Hell, they started even making music videos for the little cars later on. And sadly, they didn't infringe on any more copyright. But they didn't make original songs either.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
So the songs they sing are like Jingle Bells, Oh Susanna without the hard R's, the ABCs. Like, they made an album and it's on Spotify. Like, what, are they gonna fucking copyright Long John Silver's next? Why is this here? Video Branquedo has since filed for bankruptcy and shut down their main operations. But the company was rebranded to Sincraces Intelligentes. And since DVDs are like dead now, they started making weird YouTube Kids shit, bringing us such quality content like a Peppa Pig knockoff written by somebody who totally doesn't have an inflation fetish. Nowadays, they mainly focus on Disney princess ripoffs like Little Princess School. In this thing, they go to school. Which is odd because women couldn't get an education in medieval times, but that's why the genre is called fantasy.
I hit a princess with my car once.
So, if you're ever in the area, don't check these out from your local ghetto shithole Ohioan library.
So I'm biggering my company, I'm biggering my factory, I'm biggering my corporate style!
Money, money, money. Hey!
Hi guys, it's me, Brie Larson here with my YouTube channel that only exists because I was in a fucking Marvel movie. Okay, if you're a recurring viewer of my content, you probably know that I constantly reference things I've talked about in the past. For example, like every fucking video since I brought up the Angry Birds movie because I hate it. But there's one movie I've brought up countless times on this channel but never actually fucking talked about, and that's the stupid ass 2012 Lorax.
I give the people what they love. All the critics say I'm evil. Got no time to read reviews while I'm working on the sequel.
So if you didn't know, this movie was made by Illumination. Illumination is an awful company that's had an awful influence on the animation industry, especially in the 2010s to now. Everything they currently have in their catalog and probably everything in the future that they will make for the rest of the time is complete garbage. If you want a more in-depth explanation as to my problems with the company as a whole, I recommend you watch my Minions video, but you notice how every film they've ever made has like a budget under $100 million. Now, generally mainstream animated features in North America have much larger budgets than that. Like, look at Pixar or DreamWorks budgets. Like, those are much higher, and the films don't look like complete shit as a result. The major problems have arisen because of this, including constant continuity errors, awful character design, and most prominently, never fucking challenging the audience at all. Like, they want their films to make money, so they always do the bare minimum of what is necessary. Hang on, let's look at this one scene from the movie that actually addresses the company very well. Okay, so they say it takes 96 batteries, even though that's like 27, I think. Like, these things are constantly present. You can look at that for 4 seconds and know that it's not 96 when they said it's not 96. Like, why actually make 96 battery assets? Nope, can't do that because that would take more time and effort. Gotta rush this out as quick as possible. You gotta give them credit. They actually know how to analyze spreadsheets and make a fuckload of money. Like, they're actually really good at that. But nope, I guess people are too busy XDing Minions to see what the problem with the company is. So the Lorax 2012 is a big pile of pee and is being heavily criticized by me, Dr. X Henry. I'm sorry, my rhyme's bad. Well, it's better than any of the songs in this movie. Now, the songs are all abysmal. They're kind of hilariously awful in retrospect. Like, trust me, it's not Doug Walker the Wombat or anything, but like, all what they do is like, oh hey, let's just come up with one phrase and then just fucking repeat it over and over again with some stupid and unfunny alteration. Like, how bad can I be? Okay, boom, we got a fucking lyric. How are we gonna alter that and not be funny at all? Hey, yo, Ed Helms, what should we do? I don't know, man. I'm too busy shooting the fucking shitty scenes of The Office. How about Puppy? Boom, okay, it works.
Just look at me petting this puppy.
Even though it's a fucking bear, which can follow in a ton of unfunny bullshit shenanigans. And the movie thinks it's so hilarious, but it's not. It's just fucking insufferable. And generally so bad it's good at some parts. Like Frozen 1 has the same problem where they just get random comedic pauses during songs. It just results in them having a really bad flow.
I think some company's overdue. I've started talking to the pictures on the walls. Hang in there, Joan.
Like stop fucking doing that. I like the song. We don't need these stupid comedic pauses.
Do you want to build a snowman? It doesn't have to be a snowman.
This is my own private domicile and I will not be harassed. Bitch!
Yeah, you probably remember the memes of it that spawned of it in early 2017, but the film opens with a narration by the Danny DeVito cameo.
Buddy, thanks for coming. I am the Lorax.
Yeah, if you're not watching this in the theater and say you're watching this in your basement with your non-existent anime girlfriend, it's just really awkward.
We opened in Sneedville, a city they say that was plastic and fake, and they liked it that way. A town without nature, not one living tree. So what happened to them? Cue the music. Let's see.
Okay, cue the music, even though it already fucking started. Also, why does the sign turn on when the sun comes up? But then we get our painful and stupid musical number, which establishes all the wacky quirks of the location, which most of the movie isn't even fucking set in. Whoa, hold on. Is that a fucking pimp? Yeah, there's a fucking pimp in a Dr. Seuss movie. An interesting thing to note about the musical numbers is that there are actually incomplete demo versions of the songs, which are fucking hilarious. It's in the same realm as, say, the Beatles anthology albums, for example. Like, if they actually use these incomplete demo versions, which I know wasn't the intent, but if you actually listen to these, which if you hate the songs, I do recommend, they are hilarious. Well, hilariously shit in that fact. You just sit there and think, wow, if they included this shitty demo, the shit movie would be even shittier. Which is funny to think, because the movie is already really shit. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna play them because copyright bullshit, but I find this particular segment funny.
Everyone round here works for me. I said there's something they should get for free.
Like, why does O'Hare sound like a drug dealer? What the fuck? Were they high when they made this and just got him to do it because they didn't have anyone else? But these songs are so obnoxious and lazily written. It feels like shit straight out of Radio Disney, but in a mainstream animated film. But again, they are mind-blowingly insulting. But the opening theme establishes the location of Sneedville, which is a city that's entirely reliant on manufactured oxygen. And it fails from not being funny, and again, the film doesn't take place in the location. Well, for the most part anyway. Like the South Park movie actually has a funny opening song which establishes a location and could actually fit in a PG movie. Where do we get introduced to our kind of main character he's like, what, like fucking 10? And he sounds like a fucking 40-year-old?
Oh, hey, Audrey. Hi.
But he's horny as fuck for this girl, and she wants trees to be a real thing again. Yeah, you know, an interesting thing to note is that these characters are voiced by Zac Efron and Taylor Swift. You know, a famous singer and an actor who has starred in a large quantity of musicals prior to this. Yeah, they don't have musical numbers, which is a perfect opportunity to make money. Like, why wouldn't you do that? Oh no, they would lose money because they have to pay them, never mind. Yeah, you know, this also is a good time to address another major problem with the company. Like, all the voice acting, like, it's always bad. It's not insufferable or anything, but it just has so many unnecessary celebrity voice actors. It's just like, including a celebrity voice, just be like, hey, you. Yeah, you. Oh. Hey, you want your kids to shut the fuck up for an hour and you like Kevin Hart? Then, oh boy, do we have the movie for you.
I got bras in Atlanta. Twist the rope, drink a Fanta.
Oh, there's a man standing on the bridge.
What?
Yes, he looks like...
Are you?
Nice to meet you. It looks like he may commit suicide.
Suicide is badass! See? And it fucking works. But Taylor Swift still wants trees to be a thing, so Zac Efron gets really fucking horny. He decides that he could probably win her over if he were to somehow get one. That's his motivation for wanting trees to be a thing again, not because he's interested in the environment or he wants to study them or something. Nope, his motivation is that he wants to fuck some ginger, and that is incredibly weak motivation. Or actually, if you listen to the soundtrack on the Thneedville demo, he goes into his own verse about, like, he wants something called a Who's It, which I can assume is like some toy or something by the lyrics. It's not exactly clear what it is because it's not in a visual medium. But hey, I guess it's better than what originally was intended, I guess. But then we get introduced to plenty of other stupid characters, like most notably Aloysius O'Hare, the man who found a way to sell air and became a zillionaire. And I'm so glad that they made him have dwarfism. We really don't get enough midget representation in Hollywood. And I bet if he tried to fucking build houses on the Arctic, a polar bear would come to Thneedville and try to stop him. So anyway, horny Zac Efron leaves the Thneedville property and like, what, you're telling me no one leaves the city? What the hell? Why does it look like Chernobyl out here? Is this what happens if Trump wins the election again?
No, I do not support Trump.
Why not?
Because he's just a loser that is gay and has no life.
Why do you think that?
Because, do you see his haircut?
But then he goes to the Onceler to hear the actual fucking story from the book, which proceeds in the big problem of it sometimes cutting back for some reason. Oh wait, filler's the reason, never mind. I understand why it's in the first and third act, but why randomly interrupt the second for more filler shit that you probably forgot is in the movie? But we get introduced to the flashback Onceler, and he is fucking insufferable. First of all, why do they show his face? The commentary in the original story relates to how this type of situation could happen to anybody. They don't show his face, because his face could be yours. Like, it's a well-executed message in the original, plus it hides all the ways that you could be creative and funny by not showing his face. But this iteration of the character is a cool guy who has a fucking emo haircut and wears fedoras and tight clothing and smokes Thneed every day and plays electric guitar even though there's never a fucking amp in all the scenes where he plays electric guitar. Like, the original book came out in 1971, and unless this is set in the far future, the stereotype wouldn't exist. Yeah, you know, I think it's actually a good time to establish the internet's weird obsession with a character. And yeah, I know that shit's common, but not with Illumination characters, but he's just really popular online for some reason. Wait a second. I know why you guys like him so much. You wanna fuck him, don't you?
Few moments later.
We get introduced to even more useless characters like the bears and the fish, who fail miserably at being the minions, which is strange because considering this is made by Illumination and every character that has tried to be the minions even before the minions were a thing failed in comparison to their success. Like, I would argue that the minions are some of the best designed characters in any piece of media, not because it's a good design, but they are intended to be as marketable as possible. They're made out of a simple shape that anyone can draw, and yellow is an eye-catching color. If a picture or video of The Simpsons is in your eyesight, you will most likely notice it because it's yellow. And the minions' only purpose is just to be obnoxious and market the movie. Because if they were only into marketing and not the movie, then no one would actually fucking like the movie and want to come back. But like the fish and bear characters fail miserably because of just the bad design. Like, you figured Illumination would know their shit when making this type of character because they heavily popularized it. Let's talk about another animated movie I think some of you might have heard of. I think unlike Toothpaste, 10 out of 10 critics heavily recommended the motherfucking Norm of the North series. Like, the Lemmings fail their original intent of the character because it's not a good design. And don't get me wrong, the movie itself is fucking awful.
That guy, someone's coming. Act natural. Not that natural.
And the animation is complete shit as expected. But like, you figured Illumination would know the shit, and it's kind of distracting that they don't know their shit in this movie for some reason. Then the Onceler cuts down a tree and the Danny DeVito cameo shows up. Okay, well that actually makes sense. It fits the spirit of the book. It's not in it, but it makes sense. That's a fitting change. Maybe they actually figured out how to tell a fucking story. You ever read the Lorax book as a kid? You're like, oh man, this is just such a great book. It felt better than my uncle's pee-pee. This was just so good. But it could have been better if they added Mission Impossible homages. So if you thought about that for some reason, then yeah, it's gonna be epic. Totally not pointless and unfunny inclusion at all. But then the Onceler goes into town to sell his Thneed, even though he only made one because creating assets is for Pixar. Then nobody wants a stupid fucking Thneed. Then he overdoses on hair. Okay, that doesn't happen. Everyone wants his product all of a sudden, and then they explain it through another fucking awful musical number. Okay, that has to be some form of assault. But then his family shows up and they encourage him to do stuff.
We could always start chopping down the trees.
But...
No buts, Oncey. You're running a business now. You have to do what's best for the company and your mama.
Yep, the fact that his family pressures him into cutting down the trees is against the original commentary of the book. Like, his decision to increase the business regardless of how he's heavily aware of the awful negatives actually makes him an interesting character because it's supposed to be a cautionary tale, bad decisions. But then instead of watching the slow progression of all the trees get cut down, they just do it over like another shitty fucking 4-minute musical number.
Oh, mine.
I would honestly call this the Chris Malatrandi, founder and CEO of Illumination Entertainment. And sure, you must think of the Once-Ler and Illumination connection because they both like to make money, but no, it's actually much deeper than that. Like, they both have the resources to make a quality product, but it's manufactured in a format that doesn't affect the environment, in the film's case, the environment being the audience and the overall quality of the film, but something that has a risk of failing would actually take more time to develop because of the quantity of purchases being the resources to make a quality product. Why actually develop something that's more expensive and time-consuming to create when you could just do this, with the negatives being all the negative reception that these films get, and so clearly nowhere near as bad as the initial consequence portrayed by the movie. But considering the song exists in the movie, it is incredibly hypocritical considering their business motives. Like, The Iron Giant was a huge flop, and that's one of the most beloved animated movies of all time. Like, it was able to gain its popularity far after its debut, and of course Illumination doesn't want to do that because motherfucking money. If you only saw an Illumination movie once in the theater and then never again, tell me one fucking thing about the movie, even if you liked it. Yo, tell me one fucking thing you liked about the movie you saw once. In fact, this movie, according to this article, had over 70 different product tie-ins, and if you were above the age of 5 when the movie came out, you probably remember it being fucking everywhere. Like, this stupid fucking IHOP advertisement is giving me a Vietnam flashback, and also, considering the statement that they're parroting, I highly doubt they would get away with that now, considering the origin. But anyway, we get to see the last tree get cut down, and yep, that's how the entire forest gets destroyed. No, like I said, no slow regression, it's just done during one shitty musical number, ending the story on a powerful note about how horny Zac Efron has the decision to make a cleaner and safer environment. Nope! Alright, there's gotta be some sort of climax, I guess. So the big bad corporate villain is in a fucking car chase with him. Yeah, did you ever read the Dr. Seuss book as a kid? Like, yep, like I said, that was better than my uncle's pee-pee, but yeah, it would have been better if they had fucking car chases in it. And then horny Zac Efron wants everybody to join his side, and they just do it instantly because movie has to happen.
Don't know me, but my name's Cy.
I thought you died early in the movie, what the fuck? And everybody knows you're like the only air delivery person in the entire city from at least what the film shows. Yep, why actually write songs that make sense in the universe when we could just do this? But again, this song is hilariously awful. It might be the most memed because it's probably the worst out of all of them.
Our son Wesley kinda glows.
Yes, making the environment better will make your sun stop glowing. Yeah, like, I'm not gonna fucking point out everything that's wrong with the movie here.
I'm Grammy Norma, I'm old and I've got gray hair.
Well, Grammy Norma? No, it's Granny Norma. Go on Google and click on the first thing that pops up to prove it.
I live here in Thneedville too.
I mean, like, okay, well, first of all, you live in the sky, but okay, and I like how they reference a similar children's book that's not written by Dr. Seuss.
You greedy dead man!
Not only are you singing about peace and love, even though you just launched a midget into space, but keep in mind, he's in charge of, like, everything, and I'm pretty sure he's the only person that's actually qualified to run the society. So I'm pretty sure your whole economy is fucked. I'm like, it was probably gonna happen. Like, look at the safety here. This kid could very easily fall to his or her death. But then Zac Efron fucks Taylor Swift, and then he gets declared as the biggest simp of all time. And for some reason, the Once-Ler comes out, and then they show his face, and it's supposed to be like this emotional moment, but it fails miserably at being emotional. Like, yeah, we've seen his face the whole movie. Like, why is this supposed to be emotional? He's been locked up in the middle of nowhere. Of course, he's gonna look like a homeless person. Oh, hell, they even bring the Lorax back because life is so fucking easy, and we need to prepare kids for that. And everybody wins except O'Hare. O'Hare's fucking dead. A big tragedy of the midget community, even bigger than Game of Thrones season 7 and 8. And that was the stupid-ass 2012 Lorax. I've wanted to talk about this one for a long time, and overall, it's not the worst movie ever here. It's not the worst Illumination movie, and hell, it's not the worst Dr. Seuss movie. In fact, there are some positives. In the main story, if the characters characters weren't obnoxious as they are, and the artistic direction wasn't as limited by the Illumination standard, I'd see some potential working here. The character designs try to emulate the style of Dr. Seuss, it just doesn't work well because of the Illumination character structure, and I could see some of the stuff in the main story, again, without all the characters being obnoxious and stupid all the time, actually working to some extent, but there are just so many stupid decisions that worsen the film because money. Yeah, like, I know it's a children's book and they gotta stretch it out to a 90-minute film, but like, it was so poorly handled in that aspect. Like, the Thneedville shit in the beginning, middle, and end is especially pointless and terrible. The soundtrack for the film is just incredibly padded out and only exists because money, and the songs only exist so they can be included in the film because of money. Like, there are only 4 songs in the movie. Like, the South Park movie is shorter than this and it had 11. To be fair, if there were more songs, I'd probably hate the movie, but it would be more justifiable for it being a musical because there is no point for this to be a musical. Like, on the soundtrack, there's the 4 main songs, the shitty pop song in the credits, the gospel verse in Let It Grow, but like, that's a verse in the song. Why is that its own song? Oh wait, money, they gotta fucking stretch it out so they can sell it for more. Then there was a song that it briefly appears in the movie, but it was mostly cut out entirely, so it doesn't count. Then all the demos, for some reason, like, that should be on an anniversary re-release or a deluxe edition or something. The reason why most of the stuff that makes the movie so bad doesn't work is that it completely fails in capturing the spirit of Dr. Seuss. Like, the Lorax is a surprisingly deep and powerful children's story, but so much of it is ruined by what could make the movie more profitable. And considering Dr. Seuss is dead and it goes against the original intent to everything that the story presented, I just find it outright disrespectful at times. And yeah, the movie's fucking shit, obviously, because it's Illumination. Anyway, I'm Dr. Xavier and I'm signing off.
Hey, you know what would go good with these sandwiches? Funny internet videos.
Michelle and Hillary and Palin, it's a fucking foursome.
Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic. I remember it so you don't have to.
The Nostalgia Critic is a character played by Douglas Darian Funny Man Walker, whose origin can be traced back to the angry video game nerd, who is a character played by James Bimmy Duncan Rolfe. Bimmy, I'd argue, is a beloved but still underappreciated figure in internet history given what he influenced, the genre of angry reviewing and just reviewing in general, with many odds and ends of the James influence being prevalent, but sometimes for the worst.
Hey, look at this! I've been cleaning out my nest, and I found an old book of my poetry.
Was always positive, he was always upbeat, he was always talkative. Even if you were in a bad mood or you were in an awkward situation or something wasn't comfortable, he would always start talking, he would always try to cheer you up.
This game sucks. Those little tiger, like, electronic wrist games, those are better than Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Ooh boy, I hate this game. I mean, it makes me want to kill myself.
When I say James is underappreciated, I say that because he didn't influence things like funny cat videos, celebrity gossip, shopping vlogs, stealing other people's content. You know, like that really economically viable shit that your stupid spoiled whore cousin watches.
Is like a butt.
Yeah, it's like when someone has a good butt.
And let's be real, does your stupid spoiled whore cousin watch Angry Video Game Nerd? Probably not. Even if you hate him, every respected reviewer's origin can be traced back to Bimmy. If he isn't a favorite of yours, then he's probably your favorite reviewer's favorite reviewer, or is part of your favorite reviewer's family tree of some sort. Bimmy, being in his 20s, had the advantage of an artistic background in a time of early internet mass unprofessionalism, and made game reviews on a next to nothing budget besides what he already owned. And he had the homemade craftsmanship and the acting skill to be as funny as television in terms of audience reception.
How would you like it if I conduct the rest of the video like this? Full motion video, my ass. I'd rather it be full fucking screen.
Technology was changing, as well as the standards of stupid internet videos. James was probably the first person to have a successful, proper modern-day web series. I mean, like Fred Figglehorn, who was the first channel to get 1 million subscribers, was kind of like the Nerd in a way, just on the basis that there was a distinguishable character comedy act and a reoccurring series to go along with it. So the people watching at home realized that there weren't a whole lot of restrictions to making Bimmy's stupid homemade movies, with some being declared rip-offs and others being declared as spiritual successors. And I say declared rip-offs because the people who weren't acclaimed, I don't think were necessarily plagiarizing AVGN for clicks. They just didn't put enough thought into how to be unique. Like, people assumed the Irate Gamer was a Screenwave's Monster Madness writer, but I think it would be more reasonable to call him inspired but unoriginal. He just didn't bring anything that new to the table, unlike JonTron, for example, whose earliest reviews were clearly inspired by the nerd, but he put enough thought into his topics and his presentation over the course of his catalog, and now has double the numbers Bimmy has, but not the level of street cred Bimmy has. Can't forget such assumed plagiarists like the angry hardcore pissed off gamer.
The original Nintendo Entertainment System sucked because he had to perform a certain amount of blowjobs on the cartridges in order for the games to work.
The Game Dude.
Look at Barbie. What a scary bitch.
Once Upon a Dream. Huh, that's original. What a great book.
You've only read 4 words, you dumb bitch.
Dr. X Henry.
Oh my god, that's just dumb. Look at that. Why would they put that in a video game? Yes, there's literally a character that you can unlock that is a ran over dead cat. Oh, what were they thinking?
However, easily the most notable, seemingly inspired by the nerd, was Doug Walker's The Nostalgia Critic, who applied the pre-existing angry reviewer shtick and put it into his own brand of comedy, and shook the formula up by talking about movies, which was kind of a revolutionary concept at the time, proving that you didn't need to be Roger Ebert or whatever to be a successful film critic. Doug had a background in both studying film, although majoring in communications, and comedically summarizing movies. First through his 5-second movie series featuring the epic episode of Batman and Robin where Doug takes a shit on camera. Search for it if you really want to see Doug's hairy asshole. But like most of early YouTube featuring copyrighted content, it was taken down, because it wasn't super transformative and it wasn't necessarily fair use, which seemingly caused a motivation to make fair use content, which could be applied through the concept of the Nostalgia Critic, Doug's spin on the nerd. Early YouTube's strict copyright policies is very apparent in the first Nostalgia Critic episode, Transformers 2007, which didn't use any copyrighted footage and just featured Doug talking, but this was altered with episode 2, Cartoon All-Stars to the Rescue, which was legally in fair use and had the benefit to visually convey Doug's criticisms, unlike the Transformers 2007 episode.
Oh my god, George Bush is starting this thing off!
But even if he began to make fair use, Doug continued to face copyright complications despite his videos now being more legal than ever. In mid to late 2006, YouTuber was barely a respected profession. You know, this isn't nowadays where every kid wants to be Mr. Beast. And people began to become very optimistic towards the future of the potential economic viability of YouTube. Thanks to technology, we could have another way that would allow you to get out of the hood and have some fun. I mean, like, why sell crack when you could bitch about Care Bears? And given Doug's film background, he was professional enough, and subsequently, just like James, Nostalgia Critic began to get his assumed plagiarists. From my personal exposure, I believe there's more Nostalgia Critic clones than AVGN clones. And, like, Nostalgia Critic clones still pop up on occasion, but like AVGN clones are kind of a thing of the past. The new generation is making Scott the Woz clones, but Nostalgia Critic clones haven't really gone anywhere.
They are all dumb idiots with no story, no motive, no reason, and no background checks, and therefore cannot be considered legit people.
Thanks, Doug. However, one crucial aspect about making money off YouTube was that YouTube partnerships weren't commonplace yet. And in a time of new monetization, YouTube really wasn't monetizing unhinged nerd comedy acts.
Alvin and the Chipmunks? Alvin and the Chipmunks. Alvin and the Chipmunks. More like Alvin and the Chipmunks.
They wouldn't want that to be the face of their platform. Who else besides fellow nerds watches this shit? That's not gonna appeal to your stupid spoiled whore cousin. So most of the big faces of the AVGN-inspired genre began to be associated on other websites, because the most successful of the reviewers had the audience but not the contracts to ring in the dough. Nostalgia Critic seemingly having the second largest audience behind AVGN. But the nerd himself, for years, was primarily hosted on game trailers, a news source for video games that would probably get a kick out of screaming over NES games.
Well, I hope you're proud of yourself, and you know what I mean, you fucking whore.
I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way.
Yeah, well, wait till I draw your suicide note in your own blood, you bunny fucking bitch. I'm coming over, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill your whole motherfucking family.
But Doug went the opposite route, not partnering with another company, but forming another company called Channel Awesome, which hosted Doug's website, That Guy with the Glasses, but was later fully rebranded to match the company name Channel Awesome. Doug was not one of the business founders legally, but he is the face of the company and is assumed to have some authority and control. So Doug, knowing that he was a part of this genre, eventually decided to expand the website to feature other people of his genre, a lot of which were directly inspired by his success if it wasn't James's success. However, nobody, not even Doug, was ever on the quality James had in his prime, and as a result of producing low quality in high quantity, this is what cemented Channel Awesome as to what I consider to be the largest rabbit hole of crap originating from the internet. The people Doug and company hired to help contribute to content output were drastically unqualified and mostly just people who were doing the same thing as him or James, but worse. But like I said, Doug had an audience that was the big dog of the genre next to the nerd, eventually leading to various collaborations of creating a fictional rivalry between AVGN and Nostalgia Critic in character, which started as back and forth bickering videos, but eventually evolved into full-on fight videos. And by the time of preparing for the 1-year anniversary of the That Guy with the Glasses website, a video in celebration was created, called the That Guy with the Glasses 1-year anniversary brawl, featuring all the notable contributors to Channel Awesome, plus the nerd and Kyle Justin from the nerd, and Matee from Captain Planet. Yeah, so in Nostalgia Critic episode 16, Doug got one of his technical supervisors to impersonate Matee from Captain Planet.
I recently sat down with Matee this past week to find out just how he felt about this situation.
I'll tell you how I feel about the whole situation. I'm fucking pissed off, man. You know?
And I guess it was a fine Family Guy cutaway gag for the video, but the character was brought back on multiple instances, which is odd because it's a niche thing to parody, unlike the AVGN parodies of classic characters.
Holy shit! It's Spider-Man!
But all the reviewers joined side in a war against each other, eventually escalating into a fight featuring Super Mecha Death Christ from AVGN. And the 1-year anniversary brawl is very dated, but a harmless, goofy old internet video that doesn't bite off more than it can chew. It was a hit, getting to see everybody together in a quick, fun, violent watch. For the 2nd anniversary, a special event was conceived. A full Nostalgia Critic movie. Now, how do you turn clip-screaming YouTube videos into a movie? Well, I guess to make it in the spirit of the anniversary brawl, but that's a short, goofy YouTube video. How do you make that into a movie? Well, they did it anyway. Kickassia is a 90-minute miniseries that can also be watched as a movie, and is about Nostalgia Critic and company trying to take over the micronation of Molossia. Molossia is a micronation located in Nevada, not recognized by the United Nations. The project serving as a crossover of the various Channel Awesome web shows. And this was 2010, before the Avengers, a time where crossovers actually meant something, unlike today where everything is a crossover, multiverse, or whatnot. Hollywood Blues makes you want to holler sometimes and throw up both your hands. And I gotta say, the concept is genuinely funny, of a bunch of jackasses trying to invade a large plot of land that isn't a very well-known part of American history. It's also a clever workaround for a low budget, not having a super expensive place to film in, considering, well, they did it on a small budget. Now, obviously, it was a micro budget, but the production did have a budget. I don't know how much, but it did. But clearly, not much else was spent in the technical department. Like, I'm not sure how much money they had. They couldn't have spent more money on better cameras and like lights and shit, even if it meant delaying the project. Like, considering it was 2010, it's better than like iPod Touch 3 quality. But this is supposed to be like an epic movie, not a dumb YouTube video. where, you know, the little technical bullshit doesn't really matter. And I say epic movie because they sold this for money. Now, there's tons of unofficial YouTube re-uploads and Internet Archive re-uploads that Mike Machode hasn't struck down yet. But on Channel Awesome's YouTube channel, there is no official upload. Like, they want you to buy this on DVD, which are kind of rare collector's items from the minimum manufacturing. A lot of the time, the camera isn't even in focus, and there's so much shaky cam for no reason, and the angles are shit. Half the time, the windows are being filmed and the sunlight is visible. And yeah, lighting natural light into the room isn't bad, but why are you filming the light? Oh, it's because Juwario's in heaven. So, Nostalgia Critic because movie wants control of Molossia, and we actually see the founder of Molossia, Kevin Baugh. This movie was probably the largest piece of publicity Molossia has ever gotten, and the founder got a chance to play himself in the movie. And Kevin Baugh, besides this a completely inexperienced entertainer, actually gives one of the best performances of the movie. The first scene of Critic confronting Baugh goes on for way too long, which is just an issue with Channel Awesome and Doug's writing in general. Doug and company's inability to condense an analysis extends to their fictional writing. Like, this joke is funny.
Are you a Nazi, Linkara? No. Are you a Nazi, Linkara? No.
But then it's immediately ruined by going on for another 2 minutes of praising Nazis. So Doug commits a war threat and he has to assemble his army of shitty YouTubers. This isn't every Channel Awesome contributor, just the most notable turds from the shitter. If you don't know who these people are, I don't fucking blame you, but they're just formal Channel Awesome reviewers. The movie doesn't even establish who they are, so why should I? Crossing over different web show hosts with no context. Most of the other characters are just really vanilla hosts or obnoxious man-children. Spoonie and Cinema Snub are tolerable, I guess they have some personality, but everyone else just acts completely unenthusiastic or just doing a Doug impression because he wrote this. This movie is not helped by the fact that there's like 18 fucking protagonists, and it's immediately hard to contemplate what the fuck is even happening. The shots of all the reviewers look like shit. Everyone looks just confused and clearly doesn't want to be here. The actual crossover aspect is extremely poorly balanced. If anything, he should have done something like The Great Muppet Caper, where it has a main trio of pre-existing characters, but all the other characters are still there, although in secondary roles, and get to help with stuff over the course of the movie.
Woof, 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 woof. It hopes to know a second language.
So all the classic characters from the variety show are still in it, while still having identifiable protagonists. And keep in mind, this is Doug's favorite Muppet movie.
Honestly, my favorite Muppet film out of all of them is The Great Muppet Caper.
So how'd you fuck that up, jackass? So then they go to Molossia, leading to screaming for about 7 minutes straight. The fight choreography is so lazy, they keep looping the same punch sound effect over and over again. And then for comparison, you can watch the AVGN Bugs Bunny Birthday Blowout episode, which features some semblance of choreography, relying heavily on POV shots and close-ups to make movement more identifiable. The amount of cuts better identifying the physical contact between characters. And unlike this, they actually touch each other, which of course in post is edited to create the illusion of violence. Hell, even the AVGN versus Nostalgia Critic set in the James Nerd Room isn't poorly choreographed like this shit. Sure, it's a cheap Bugs Bunny Halloween costume, but the presentation makes that not matter because it's funny. This is why others inspired by AVGN tried to replicate it with other videos of fighting costumed characters like Game Dude.
You're awesome, but you suck. I'm shipping you to Finland.
And Dr. X Henry.
Playing your stupid game.
You want to? You want to go there?
There's also no fucking white flashes, which I feel were just frequently edited in to limit the chances of the audience recognizing the lack of physical contact. Oh shit, not Juwario's head! We even get fan service, which is commendable, I guess, featuring Lee from Still Gaming becoming human. One of the more obscure contributors in the rabbit hole, but his gimmick was that he only used flickering photographs instead of video, which was definitely unique.
Oh man, sorry, I'm a bit down in the dumps today. Sega almost got me this time. For some that aren't aware, Sonic the Hedgehog was great.
It's not an amazing gimmick. he wasn't a great host, but there was more substance than most, I'd say. But it happens like 30 minutes in and is completely anticlimactic. It was probably done quickly, so less of his character had to be edited in post with PNGs, so they successfully invade Molossia and turn it into Kickassia. 30 minutes into the movie, so what the fuck is even supposed to happen now? So now that they need to pad the movie out, it's time for useless garbage. So Nostalgia Critic becomes the dictator with Nostalgia Chick as the vice dictator. And they make Nostalgia Chick Sarah Palin.
This world is full of cruel, cold-hearted people, and they don't maintain the same standard of niceness that I try to maintain. Am I not nice?
So if you're 12 years old and not American, Sarah Palin was a largely disliked vice presidential candidate in the 2008 presidential election.
Palin is actually smart, cool, and pretty sexy too.
And the internet dunked on her in all its early internet glory, similar to Justin Bieber and Jar Jar Binks.
Could you do it, Sarah? Does it make you feel bigger when you pulled the trigger? Sarah Palin, you're worse than Michael Vick. You really make me sick. Ain't got no love for a canine killer.
But then everybody forgot about her.
Yeah, Obama! Jay!
Like, whose favorite ERB is Sarah Palin versus Lady Gaga? Come on. I watch epic rap battles of Extreme like an adult.
I know a lady's fat, but at least I'm not a gay.
So this Sarah Palin running gag was 2010, and it was immediately dated. Not that I've never made a dated Sarah Palin joke, but the Nostalgia Chick with the desire for control tries to kill Nostalgia Critic.
Say, Critic, do you get a lot of pussy with that outfit?
Of course!
Thank you.
Dude, I swear to God, if Doug was in school now, he'd be like the one kid fucking screaming the Among Us theme in the school corridors. I am the skibbity sussy toilet from Ohio. Douglas, calm down. Mr. Caldwell, I've got one question to ask you. What are those?
So everybody gets sick of Nostalgia Critic's corrupt leadership and they have to kill him too. And this is where the padding just becomes pure fan service instead of actual plot. So the shitty YouTuber army in rebellion unleashes Dr. Insano, a Jekyll and Hyde-like persona of Spoonie, who was a somewhat notable joke character in early channel awesome history, definitely more liked than Mati from Captain Planet, who also makes a pointless fan service cameo. But Dr. Insano was mainly the antagonist of early Atop the Fourth Wall, hosted by Linkara.
Dr. Insano! I should have known you'd be the one behind this. Becoming president of the United States could never be enough for you!
And this character was liked enough to be brought back on tons of other instances.
She experiment on my Spoonie till I go insano, am I right?
So Dr. Insano goes to fight Nostalgia Critic, which is like the shitty YouTuber equivalent of Palpatine and Yoda fighting in Revenge of the Sith. And it goes on for way too long to pad out the movie, and then Santa Christ shows up and dies because fan service. They still use Santa Christ annually. I guess he's liked by fans. I don't know why. Then we get a Board James cameo because fan service, Board James being one of the other characters James Rolfe played in a board game review show, which makes me curious as to an alternate reality where the nerd was a prominent character. And I assume James didn't have time for a large role in this project because of his strict game trailers contract, which he's publicly stated caused him burnout.
During the game trailers days, I had, like a contract to put out 2 episodes a month, and it just became too much eventually. And then I was like, you know what? Like, can we change this so that I just do 1 a month? And they were cool.
But also, Bimmy has to be done at 5:40.
Well, anyway, that's it. We just ran out of time because I have to be done at 5:40 right now.
But he could have been the one likable character. Then the shitty YouTuber army fights Doug, and Doug decides to resign like Nixon and learns that he fucking sucks at running micronations. So Kickassia is a movie that is so bad at ironic humor that it's somehow ironically funny, but not in the intended ironic brand of comedy. It's not funny ironically because the irony is intentional, so it's funny post-ironically. It's so bad at being bad on purpose that it makes it good. Like, I'd actually take this over a Fred movie any day, even though it probably should have just been a dumb short YouTube video like the 1-year anniversary brawl, and not a movie that they sold for money. So they scratched it off the bucket list, and they made a movie, and it was a hit with its limited audience. So for the 3rd anniversary, why not make a sequel somehow? So this movie, much like Kickassia, actually has a funny concept of jackasses LARPing around with real-world consequences. But once again, none of the jackasses are funny, and there's too many protagonists to count, and not even every member returned. So once again, instantly, all its potential is immediately thrown out the window. The technical quality was not upgraded either. Once again, the cameras are barely in focus. And they also tried to raise the stakes by making it 2 full hours, which in terms of dumb comedy movie standards, that's pretty fucking long. Which of course doesn't matter if it's funny. I mean, like, it's a mad, 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 mad world. Bimmy's favorite movie is 3.5 hours and it's hilarious. So this one has even more extra bullshit thrown into it, despite the first one already being too long at 90 minutes. Suburban Knights is also a mini-series like the previous, and it's a MacGuffin rat race, but with shitty YouTubers. And Nostalgia Critic is trying to find a gauntlet because money, and they're gonna do it by playing Dungeons and Dragons, but to actually get something real from their fictional characters.
Why does Doug wear like a t-shirt instead of a dress shirt? Is he stupid?
But Matisse shows up unwanted, and for some reason he's like important to this movie, as if anybody gave a shit about him. There's also an antagonist who's just a shitty Matrix, I think, parody, who's barely in the movie, but at least there is one, you know, that's not Doug. Then we waste a bunch of time establishing whoever shitty YouTuber is dressed up as. Doug is like Link, and his sword is on his dick for some reason.
I know a baby stop on the reason not to kill.
Oh damn, Quentin Reviews would really love these Lindsay Ellis jerk-off instruction scenes. Phalis has this awful running gag of playing with action figures.
My little friends, they've come to help stop the nothing. Say hello to my little friend.
Oh my god, it's
I mean, he's got the...
So the shitty YouTuber army begins to embark on their quest. And this movie actually breaks the characters up, which is a benefit because it makes it slightly easier to follow. And this is where the movie starts to look even shittier than Kickassia, because it's just an Illinois forest. Like, Kickassia at least took advantage of different places. There was some variety in the shot composition, but this is just a dying forest. Not helped by the fact that despite being a bigger and better sequel, there was no money thrown into the technical aspect. So both teams fight random other D&D participators who are all just shitty, unfunny man-children screaming in the woods. And it's basically the same scene over and over again for an hour. There is one overly long fight scene, which is on a playground and is the only attempt at actually fighting in suburbia. It's called Suburban Knights, but it's more like shitty Illinois woods nights.
You guys are here for the quest thing, right?
Oh shit, Lindsay, watch out, it's Quentin! The set design of Quentin Review's house looks like shit. It's just like laptops on the wall. So then they go to the bar from Video Game Confessions, one of Doug's more forgotten series, because fan service. And we get to hear Bimmy's character, a random talking entity.
What about it?
You don't sound very ancient.
And you sound like an ass, so what's it to you?
Yeah, James fucking sucks in this movie. If anything, the nerd should have been the villain, because in Channel Awesome Lore, Critic and Nerd are established rivals. And again, I know, James was under a strict contract from Game Trailers. So, to make up for any time of James' financial losses from not working on nerd episodes, James' presence would probably jack the budget up a ton. But the nerd being the villain is a decision that makes too much sense in a movie where they didn't want to spend any cents. Oh shit, it's time for the epic final battle. It's just a car.jpg. They're just looping the same sword sound effect like the punches in Kickassia, and they get the gauntlet, which is the power glove, because funny. And at the hour and 48-minute mark, they meet the villain. But then Matisse shows up and sacrifices himself, saving the day, as if we're supposed to care that a shitty joke character died. And his death isn't played for laughs either. There's like an Amazing Grace funeral scene. You see, kids, this is what happens when you eat a Popeye's biscuit with no drink. And Doug is devastated, and he cremates Matisse in a Quaker Oats can and throws it into the stratosphere. So Suburban Suburban Knights has some of the post-ironic redeeming qualities of Kickassia, but due to its increased flaws from increased ambition, the little positives of the previous are reduced but not completely, so I guess it's watchable, but there's no reason to watch it over Kickassia. And it was seemingly a hit with its limited audience as well. I strongly believe Suburban Knights was the movie that broke Doug Walker, a man who was developing an ego, from the fact that he'd made a hit series with a ton of episodes, a hit network, and 2 hit movies, even beginning his 5th year of Nostalgia Critic with episode 193 given the heavy quantity. This man was handed success instantly with a somehow revolutionary web series, and his ego was developing, and the movies were a hit with so little money. The second Suburban Knights was a hit, Doug had officially entered hell alive, and was truly the beginning of his modern laughingstock reputation. The reason many people turned against him, perfectly captured on tape in the 3rd Channel Awesome anniversary special for the 4th anniversary, Too Boldly Flee. Like I said, in 2012, Season 5 of the Nostalgia Critic started with episode 193, and was seemingly the start of the intended final season of the Nostalgia Critic. So, over the course of the next 8 months, Doug made 29 more Nostalgia Critic episodes, with the last proper episode being Scooby-Doo 2002, releasing on August 14th, 2012. However, there was some fanfare for the intended final season of the Nostalgia Critic, with Doug counting down his personal favorite episodes and ranking the worst movies of what he's reviewed and his favorite moments from the series. And after Scooby-Doo 2002, he made a guest appearance on his fellow contributor's Phaelus review of Child's Play 3 on August 22nd, 2012. However, on the next day, August 23rd, 2012, I think it is the exact day that Channel Awesome died. Not bankrupt, but it was the end of an era of it having street cred in internet culture. To Boldly Flee, much like Suburban Knights, attempts to scale up the production, with this one having a runtime of 3 hours, 25 minutes, and 32 seconds long, not counting credits. That is almost the length of the previous 2 combined. That is longer than Schindler's List, The Godfather 2, Mad 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 World Bimmy Approved, The Hateful Eight shortened version, and Return of the King shortened version. And keep in mind, Kickassia didn't even need to be feature-length. 3.5 fucking hours of this shit? Much like Nostalgia Critics reviews, quantity over quality and barely condensed. So, because of Matisse ashes getting yeeted into the stratosphere, an intergalactic threat, a plot hole is present, which is one of many conflicts in the movie, and Nostalgia Critic is under house arrest for copyright infringement. Yeah, so this movie kind of has a satirical element of mocking YouTube's strict copyright conditions, which could have been funny, but isn't. And who's responsible for legal prosecution? Terrell from Battlefield Earth, who is in a similar realm to the Matisse parody character and is important to the plot. But Terrell is a terrible choice because Battlefield Earth is a notoriously bad movie in which Nostalgia Critic reviewed for his 100th episode in fucking season 3, making the series finale a follow-up to episode 100. Battlefield Earth is a movie based off a Scientology novel, and we all know how well-made shows made by cults are, am I right? Starring big-name Scientologist John Travolta. Except, like, nobody's gonna know what that is unless you were a die-hard Nostalgia Critic fan, or a Scientologist. Making shit nobody knows, limiting the chances of comedic potential. Like, I was born in the W. Bush years, so the only exposure I have of Captain Planet was a Smosh parody.
Yeah, I'm serious. Hey kids, you want to go save the planet?
And Smosh is also man-children running amok in cosplay, but nowhere near as bad as Nostalgia Critic. Oh, look, it's Matisse. But he's not the punchline. The main recognizable character is. Guys, as bad as Family Guy cutaway gags can be at times when they mock licensed characters, at least it's always like Fred Flintstone or whatever, not fucking Peter Potamus. Who the fuck is Peter Potamus? I don't fucking know. Not my fucking problem, because he's not the one being mocked.
Breaking! These are the crimes by the internet personality Nostalgia Critic, and I will not rest until he faces the cool hand of justice!
You see, this is when Doug Walker's production value in general starts to become super thinks on cups, rap battles.
You look like Coolio trick-or-treating as Jack Sparrow.
Oh, so that's how
Spoonie is white. That doesn't make any fucking sense.
So, Nostalgia Critic is placed on house arrest, and it turns out Spoonie is possessed by Mati. So, due to the multiple threats he's facing, it's once again time to spend an unnecessary amount of time assembling Doug's shitty YouTuber army. And this is the part of the YouTube video called a film where it progressively relies on parody humor and has some of the worst parody humor ever conceived by mankind. The parodies in this movie are barely condensed, much like Doug's analyses. It's the bare minimum of parody. It often just comes off like theft at times. So Obi-Wan Kenobi, I think, shows up and dumps bad exposition because reference. And John Travolta Alien is also working for Palpatine because reference.
What? Yeah, shut this all off.
Shutting this off would have extremely dangerous consequences.
Guys, remember Ghostbusters?
Hey, this is private property. Shut this off. Shut these all off. I'm warning you, turning off these machines would be extremely hazardous.
Like, good Simpsons used to have like a shit ton of movie homages, but the Simpsons did it in ways that didn't disrupt the flow of the plot and added unique comedy to it, comedically retelling while casually incorporating, unlike this. But the joke here is that it's the movie, but it's with shitty YouTubers and it looks like shit. Like, what's new or likable about it? Fucking nothing. It's the bare minimum of parody. It's a smidge away from plagiarism. Well, I guess there's some comedy, but it's not funny.
Remind me to ask him if he's a transvestite.
Because exposition dump, Dr. Insano explains that there's a plot hole, a black hole that alters reality. So, fuck it, the shitty YouTuber army has to go to space because Star Wars and Trek, and the spaceship is just Doug's house, which could be a funny joke, but was clearly done to save money by not building sets and just being a house. Yeah, great CG. This is where they begin to experiment with CG. But John Travolta meets General Zod from Superman, played by Doug, meaning that Doug plays both a hero and a villain, and yet another antagonist. And they even turn their spaceship into a house, meaning that the cinematography is even more indistinguishable now. Like, get it? It doesn't look like a Star Trek space deck, it's a basement. You better think that punchline is hilarious, because it's the same joke repeated over and over again. Ha, it's a house. Man, it's almost like there's a magic word to describe the fluff in the movie. Oh yeah, wait, I know.
Cause this is filler, building up the time. An hour and a half is just too long for uncreative minds. Woo-hoo.
So then Linkara begins to attack the nostalgia chick.
Nostalgic, Linkara, you know, there's a meeting downstairs and... I'm gonna give you two a month.
What the hell is taking them so long?
Young Brain, you look like you heard two people having sex.
How would you know?
I'm French. We know.
Well, are they coming?
Well, that's a loaded question.
What?
Oh, nothing. They're getting busy, keeping busy with heterosexual extracurricular activities.
Whatever. I'm just making sure.
And I play this clip in full context because the scene was accused of being a rape scene, and out of all the allegations made against Doug Walker by his former associates, this is the only one with some evidence. Because if you read the script, Linkara seemingly rapes a nostalgia chick, but this is altered to the point where consensual sex is mistaken, but it's not sex, it's an assimilation, turning nostalgia chick into a cyborg. So it was intended to be a rape scene. But Lindsay Ellis was such a bullshitter for acting like she was forced to do this, even if it wasn't a rape in the end, considering she made the rape rap sketch.
Yo, I'm set up porno taping. I need it like a wild ape ad. My penis is bent and misshapen, so I'm spending my nights out raping.
That was good.
And Doug probably thought the original rape version of the scene was hilarious, considering he later made the Sailor Moon teenage boner sketch. And because this movie needed another antagonist, it's confirmed to the audience that Linkara isn't actually on deck, it's MechaKara, an antagonist from Linkara's Atop the Fourth Wall. But like, why should we care? It never establishes who MechaKara is. And this is when the movie just becomes complete random bullshit. That's the bare minimum of parody. Cinema Snob gets captured by Hollywood, and it's just a shitty Revenge of the Sith parody.
Join me, and I can complete your training. Imagine what we could accomplish in the...
I can't fucking hear you, Brad.
When he said big Hollywood Coke party, I'm not exactly sure this is what I had in mind. Come on, guys, it's a
And return tomorrow night. You should have gone tomorrow, yesterday, and back today. But
and here's CR and Jesu Taku. Hey, what are you guys working on?
Well, we both had the same dream, like someone was telling us to build something, so we started...
the train that goes tomorrow is a mile upon its way. If you had gone tomorrow yesterday, now don't you see? You could have gone tomorrow and returned today at 3 for the train today, tomorrow.
The world is changing, kid. The internet is changing. Even if we survive.
Calm down, Abbott. We your friends.
Shut up, Russ. I'm gonna kill you.
But Apollo, why can't we make amends?
Shut up, Mushmouth. I'm gonna kill you.
Oh, honey child, why can't we just work it out?
Shut up, Aunt Jemima. I'm gonna kill you.
Oh, Fat Eye, but please don't act like that.
Shut up, Bill Cosby. I'm gonna kill you.
Whoa. Where am I? You're in Spoonie's perception. Everything.
Cause I'm Slim Shady, yes, I'm the real Shady. And look at Kim Shady, she just got degraded by some bird. Yes, bird. She ate it with her lips beyond.
1, 2, 3 into the 4. Whoop, ducky, duck, and 2 quack hopped on your hoe.
And then we get a song number, which could be worse if you know what I'm saying. Then we get more plagiarism, and Doug drives in a car into space in a plot hole, and the big reveal, the Nostalgia Critic meets Doug Walker.
The world of endless possibilities, the great mystery? Or a world where you know you have meaning and purpose?
It's 3 minutes of Doug sucking himself off. The man's ego is off the rails here. But then actual Linkara shows up in his spaceship, which he has, which the movie also expects you to know. But it turns out the nerd was responsible for this the whole time, I think. And then, Nostalgia Critic dies. Good. Which, of course, in the Channel Awesome Multiverse of Madness of sorts, is later retconned. Because his next series, Demo Reel, featuring the epic supervillain Shuffle.
I was a nice guy, but now I'm deranged. Determining my future on the back of change. My attitude can turn on the flip of a dime. Boy, I tell you, this deal's getting worse all the time.
Which bombed.
Supervillain Shuffle son or rape rap daughter.
Has Doug's new character, Donnie Dupre, become the Nostalgia Critic? Like Steve leaving Blue's Clues and Joe taking over, but it's the same person playing the same character? Meaning that the torch was passed, but it has zero significance because it's the same fucking person. If you can call To Boldly Flee a movie, it is one of the worst movies ever made. I'd rather binge-read this show. And I try not to throw that phrase around too much, but I seriously fucking mean it here, if it even qualifies as one. It's good at speaking for itself and how shit it is. But to truly understand it, you'd have to actually watch it. But don't do that. It has zero ironic redeeming qualities. It's not worth your time to truly understand how bad it is.
Well, Mr. Doug Walker, I've got one thing to say to you. You're a poopy head.
And then, everything fell apart after this. So is Nostalgia Critic worth the hate? Well, let's find out. So, this is the Nostalgia Critic.
Cheese blaster coming through! Kick cuisine! Just in time!
Okay, just stop and think for 1 second. Imagine if a bad CG penguin just came busting in your house with a hose full of fucking liquid cheese. That actually sounds pretty epic. I hope that happens to me. Oh shit, guys, I think it's actually happening. Holy shit.
Want a Sprite cranberry?
The risk clear. It's the thirstiest time of the year.
Fuck. Street Kids is a thing that exists. Back in 2002, there was a holiday special that aired once and was lost until 2015. It is known as Rhapsody Street Kids Believe in Santa. Oh my god. Oh no. What the fuck? What the fuck? What we're going to talk about is the animation, which is a particular aspect of the film that may have caught your attention. Now, this is the hands down the worst 3D animation I have ever seen in my life. Video Branquedo, company that made all those shitty bootleg that I might talk about in the future, better than this. There are early PS1 games that look better than this, and the designs are so bad, you might notice some of the less obvious problems, like the animation. This is called Rhapsody Street Kids. No, not Rap City as an efficiently enthusiastic or static expression of feeling. No, Rap City. Like, this is a city where people rap. Characters, I believe, are supposed to be kids, but with a few exceptions, they look like teenagers because the proportions are so off and everything, and then necks move like they're broken. Like, look at the shot right here. The feet don't change shape when they take the ground, and they're kind of like glitching through it at the same time. Details about the animation. Look at this establishing shot. It looks horrible. The same couple tree PNGs are everywhere. Lake is like above the ground. Some of the houses are at impossible angles. Pretty much everything besides the buildings are like 2D images put onto a 3D environment. Also, the snow tracks, well, where are they? The snow falling was obviously added in post, but like, this movie came out in 2002. You know, I get that the CG standard wasn't as high in 2002. This just looks fucking dreadful. Okay, so what's the fucking plot of this movie? Why was there a bell when they just got out of school and they're nowhere near it? Oh, look at our other main character, Ricky, and he starts rapping.
Lady Santa Claus to start decking the halls with gifts from my Christmas list.
Really, Ricky? Rap music? We all know that rap music fucking sucks. Music was way better when John Lennon was beating his wife. Oh my god, the lip syncing on him just looked fucking awful.
2, 3 is all I see. 1, 2, 3, and no more.
Wait, okay, so you go to the store with the budget of the movie in your hand, and then you're pissed off that you can't buy anything there. So then we see Ricky walk past a house that's missing its door, and we learn that Ricky is a teddy bear that he got from his deceased parent, and he wants to give it to a girl named Nicole. And then we cut to Rhapsody Street Elementary, striving for excellence, even though they fucked up the spelling, which we proceed all the kids acting like assholes.
Extra cute. Then Mommy schedules me for my own hair lady. Smithy!
Wow, this just looks so fucking bad.
No one is faster. Don't you know I'm a Christmas tree blaster? Oh, recess!
Said no child in the history of anything ever. So we get to recess, where you guessed it, we get all the other kids acting like assholes. And there's this one kid named Smithy, who the design was obviously inspired by Kenny from South Park, with the gimmick being that you're never able to see his full face, even in a situation where it would be unnecessary to wear a big-ass park. Okay, but cutting back to recess, there's like a fucking blizzard outside, and maybe it's just my experience of growing up in the Midwest, but during the winter, we'd usually have indoor recess, and the rare occasion where we got to run around in the snow, it would be like the shitty melted snow that wasn't even useful, and sure as hell not while it was snowing out. Hey, maybe that's just my experience, but Smithy still loves his sandwich so much. Yeah, everyone's trying to take a sandwich and shit.
I'm gonna get you, Smithy! I'm gonna take your sandwich!
Yeah, they really want to eat that still soggy, cold, disgusting, bad CG sandwich. That looks fucking great.
Bring on the cheer.
Wow, I wonder if the artist that made that song ever saw the final product. Also, why is everyone dressed in the same way that they were inside? Like South Park, again, most of the characters are dressed like it's -4 degrees outside, even if it's in an unnecessary situation. You know, I don't really give a shit because South Park is actually entertaining.
This is for all the times I got grounded!
Oh. So we cut back to, you guessed it, all the kids acting like assholes.
Damn it! Oh, you'll be sorry! Nobody messes with my food and gets away with it!
Aw, come on, Smithy. Didn't your mommy teach you to share?
No!
No! Ow!
Wow, that looked fucking great. Also, Nancy Cartwright, what the hell? Okay, you probably know her from The Simpsons. I'd consider her one of the greatest voice actresses ever, but how the hell did they get her in this?
Ouch! Ow! Ow! Miss Barrington, get him away from me!
Get him away from me!
That means he likes you.
That's just a moral I really fucking hate.
Oh, you believe in Jesus now, huh, bitch? Well, good, cause you about to meet him.
That means he likes you.
Bruh.
Also, you're an adult watching like 20 children. You're supposed to not let them hurt each other. So when Ricky gives Nicole the bear, and then she rejects it, and then Ricky goes back to his house, and then we meet the grandma.
You just got it. Isn't that what Santa does? It was from my...
What the fuck? Why does she sound like that?
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
Did they get like the voice actor to show up for like a day on set? And then they just started recording, but then she had a stroke, and then they could never get her to show back up again, and they just used the stroke audio for what originally was supposed to be, you know, actual fucking words. Like, have you ever watched King of the Hill? Like, Boomhauer's entire joke is that he never speaks anything but partial gibberish.
Antiquities pursuant to the public domain, Title 970 of the State Resource Code, but I tell you what, man, they're tight.
Boomhauer, I didn't understand a word you just said.
But at least in that show, which again is actually entertaining, he actually speaks a line of English again, and it usually makes sense in the context of the situation. So then Ricky goes to write a letter in the candlelight in the daytime, and then he somehow doesn't notice that he drops his letter. My god, the animation on it just looks fucking awful. And then we see Nicole, who has a musical number.
The best kid in the world. Look at me, look, and you'll see just how good I can be.
Okay, besides the fucking awful lyrics, the cinematography looks like a 5-year-old got a hold of a surveillance system and then just fucked around with it for a few minutes. Nicole gets the letter that Ricky dropped, and then she invades her personal privacy, and then,
Oh no, Ricky. What have I done?
Okay, she likes Ricky now. Ricky, this fucking guy, that guy's not attractive, okay? If he was white, he would look like me. And then she gets a shitty crew together, and then they go to look for Ricky's teddy bear.
Oh, the Ice Queen. Hey, when you melt, your hair is gonna be a mess.
Oh wow, that looked fucking hot. Oh man, I've always wanted to be part of a satanic seizure threesome. What the fuck? Why are they popping up like that?
Surprise, motherfucker!
Anyway, some more nothing happens, and then guard dogs start chasing everybody. Now, this next scene just looks fucking hilarious. It's one of the most beautifully bad animated scenes I've ever seen in my life.
I have a great idea!
What? Have a picnic?
Just watch how smart I
am! And then they find the bear, which is on a car for some reason. Then we cut to nothing happening, and Tommy Pickles over here wants a pony.
I want a pony for Christmas. Santa can just put it in the backyard and tie it to the apple tree.
Actually, speaking of horses, if Little Nas X were to masturbate, wouldn't he blow his Old Town load? Hashtag Family Guy. Hashtag Family Guy funny moment. Hashtag lol Family Guy. Hashtag South Park. Then we get another song.
Try and help me understand. Daddy, are you sure that he's a special man? And there will always be a Santa if I believe in Santa. Daddy.
Which has a problem with all the others. I'm not even going to address that.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas, Nicole!
Holy shit.
Oh. It's not true. That's impossible!
Mark Hamill. Luke fucking Skywalker is in this movie. Wait, Nicole brings a present for Ricky.
Nicole?
Santa made a terrible mistake. He sent this present to the wrong house. So I ran over here as fast as I could.
Banjo-Kazooie. More like Brian and Stewie. Hashtag Family Guy. Hashtag Family Guy funny. And this is still fucking going. So what the fuck? And then everybody meets up at the house because I guess their families are close or something. I've never really seen anyone do that.
Do you know what, Nicole? I never stopped believing in Santa.
What? What the fuck?
Oh wait, the grandma speaks actual English now?
Christmas!
Oh no, wait, now she just started having a fucking stroke again. Oh no.
Wow!
Oh shit, everybody! Santa is coming in the fucking daytime.
And a Merry Christmas to all.
Shut that door.
Who the fuck shut the door? Everyone is standing over there. But then let's just cut to the end credits where it states, Rap City Street Kids will be back in A Bunny's Tale. Okay, this came out in 2002, and it's 2019. It's finally over. Oh, thank God. This movie, it's stupid, it's lazy, it's fucking boring, the animation is terrible, the grandma sounds like Starvin' Marvin.
Whoa, that was cool! Yeah, how do you make those clicking sounds?
And then, keep in mind, this was on TV. It only aired once, but imagine seeing 12 seconds of this fucking disaster where you're just flipping through channels. Like, I'm actually kind of curious. Was there anyone that saw, like, some part of this when it actually was on TV, and was just thinking, like, what the hell? And then their memory repressed it, and then they found it on the internet several years later, because this is a widely hated movie on the internet, which it completely deserves all the hate that it gets, because it's that fucking bad. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. Easily in the top 5. I've talked about it before, but this is hands down the worst Christmas movie ever. Like, no, just kidding. This movie's the best fucking movie ever made. Let's look at, Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. Does this have any quality family entertainment? No, it doesn't. Probably because this woman is a fucking whore. Anyway, I'm Dr. X Henry. And, holy shit, the decade's almost over. Pretty soon the Republicans are gonna resurrect Donnie Dump. We got tons of good stuff planned for 2020. Anyway, I'm Dr. X Henry, and I'm signing off.
Hi there, aren't you the sturdy little fellow? Ho, 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 ho.
Santa.
And smart, too.
Yo, shit, Rudolph, why is your nose red? Oh, dude, come on, you seriously smoked the entire stash of crack again?
Few moments later.
Dragons have invaded Dave & Buster's.
Why have dragons invaded Dave & Buster's? Who let a dragon into Dave & Buster's? What the fuck? It was Obama, wasn't it? Obama, goddamn you. Why did you let dragons into Dave & Buster's? What the fuck? My God, I sure do hope the dragons never invade my basement.
It's the thirst.
Oh shit, it's Bill Cosby! Take this, you stupid bitch!
I have just one query.
Want a Sprite cranberry?
The answer is clear. It's the thirstiest time of the year.
Alright, believe it or not, boys, Christmas music is bad.
Get ready, Santa Claus, to start decking the halls with gifts from my Christmas list.
Okay, maybe not that bad, but for those of you who didn't know, my least favorite Christmas song of all time, well, actual Christmas song, not that bullshit, of all time, is Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer by Elmo and Pasty. You know, the song with the music video where they shove some old bitch out into fucking Antarctica and she dies, and then they're happy that she doesn't die and just Santa just drops her the chimney. Like, are you okay? What the fuck? Now, if you watch Cartoon Network in the 2000s, you probably have seen this special. They aired it constantly. It's in the same realm as, say, the Scary Godmother duology, shitty Cartoon Network specials that even as a kid I despised, but they would air constantly during their respective holidays. And also, for some reason, they would air this on Christmas Eve morning all the time for like the past couple years. But you know what? The stupid fucking song got a stupid fucking movie. And obviously, it isn't the worst thing I've ever seen, but it might actually be the stupidest ever. Okay, well, holy hell, that is an awful title sequence. But anyway, we start up with a narration by Elmo Schrabschneider, the singer of the song.
Grandma got run over by a reindeer, all right. And as incredible as that was, it almost put an end to Christmas.
Yeah, you know what, Mr. Narrator, man, that is pretty incredible. This bitch is like 80 years old, and she just survived an attack of, what, like 8 reindeer and 400-pound sleigh and a 400-pound pedophile. Like, that's a huge attack. That is actually pretty fucking incredible.
It was December, and everyone in Cityville was caught up in the chaos of the holidays.
The town is called Cityville? Oh, I didn't know the fucking Powerpuff Girls lived here.
And no place was busier than my grandma's store. My grandma's store. Oh, there it is.
What, this Spankenheimer? Is this a fucking porno shop? Nope. Turns out the grandma is the CEO of the fucking gift shop at Cracker Barrel, and we meet our main character, the little shit known as Jake Spankenheimer. Yes, that is their last name, and it is said constantly throughout the movie.
You can stop right there. That shoplifting, missy.
What seems to be the problem?
Problem? No problem. No money. No merchandise.
No way! Your credit is always good here, Martha. Why, you just stop by when you get your next paycheck.
Thanks, Grandma. Everyone have a Merry Christmas!
Okay, well, that's not legal and bad for business. What if she never shows back up again? And considering that she's an adult without a credit card kind of makes something about her financial history. Epic business decisions, not autistic at all. And damn, I like how the dad is just rocking the sweet Doug and Hugh testicles look. Anyway, they get an inflatable Christmas tree, which I thought people put in their front yards, but okay. And then they put in the living room, and then it's shaped like a penis.
They had Christmas trees like that when I was a boy.
Wait a second, is that the narrator? Yeah, it's the same guy. Elmo Schneider voiced the grandpa character and the narrator. It's just really distracting. Like, I'm glad they can have the original guy in the movie, but like, why would you give him more than one role if he's doing the exact same fucking voice? It is, again, really confusing. Nothing in this special makes any goddamn sense. Anyway, Austin Bucks, aka the CEO of fucking everything, wants to come and buy Grandma's store.
If this store were mine, I'd sell it.
Cousin Mel, this store will never be yours.
Oh, yeah!
Okay, what? And also, if she outlives multiple generations of the family and it stays in business, she will eventually inherit it.
The way I see it, you can divide the world into two groups. People who like fruitcake and all the rest of us.
The holidays.
What? Fruitcake? What the fuck? Why do we need a song about fucking fruitcake? Why did a fruitcake warrant a fucking song? What the hell's the point of this?
One's enough to give the whole state of Kentucky a great big belly ache.
Oh, hey, honey, what you do at work today? Oh, I am made of the state of Kentucky, fucking throwing up everywhere. Oh, that's not. Get back in the kitchen, you whore! Anyway, we get to hear the title song again, and it serves the purpose of narrating what is going on screen, except the narrator's constantly interrupted to imply what is already being told by the lyrics, and it does not flow well at all.
She'd been drinking too much eggnog.
You've been drinking too much eggnog.
Excuse me, an elderly woman at least went missing. There's no proof that she got murdered by a pedophile, but she at least went missing. Like, why are you all acting like robots? What the fuck? So they call the police and then like they show up the next day for some reason because it's Christmas, I guess.
Impossible. Right here in the manual. There's no such thing as Santa Claus.
Is too.
Oh, we got a code 1225, Santa Claus's real syndrome family dispute.
Well, I'm glad to see that Sarah Palin finally quit her job of posting things on Facebook. Anyway, there's a huge time jump and it skips to September. Oh shit, I kind of actually like that idea. It's a Christmas and a half movie. You can watch on both Christmas and 9/11. That's epic. Anyway, Grandma gets declared legally dead and the business is going bankrupt, and then Cousin Mel, the antagonist, decides that, you know, I'm gonna fucking sell the store because it's clearly going out of business. We actually need the financial support. Anyway, she tries to sell the store to the CEO of fucking everything, but it turns out that she needs the grandpa's signature, which he could get very easily because I'm pretty sure he has fucking Alzheimer's. Like, I'm joking, but he's like this old guy comic relief that fails so miserably at being funny, presents this really confused vibe. But anyway, since she tries to get the signature, they go out to dinner.
It's right here in these papers. All you have to do is sign.
Sing?
No, sign.
Up again with the fucking Alzheimer's.
Sure.
So sign.
I'd rather sing.
Grandma spending Christmas with the superstars.
What the fuck? What kind of song segue was that? What if the conversation went differently? Like, his wife is dead and he just, why does he imagine himself as Elvis? How horny is this bitch? Jesus. Oh wait, it's fucking Alzheimer's, never mind. And when Cousin Mel successfully gets the signature, then J. Robert Spankenheimer over here gets really fucking pissed.
Actually, I'm going over to see Austin Bucks and sell this dump for millions.
Wait, millions? Yep, that's right. The fucking Cracker Barrel gift shop in the middle of nowhere is worth millions.
Grandpa, how could you do that?
They could help so many more people. They could make so many more autistic decisions in the spirit of Grand Milf Spankenheimer. Nope, but J. Robert Spankenheimer gets really fucking pissed, so instead of his idiot parents talking to him like, Jake, look, we lost a beloved family member, and that sadly happens, but she can't come back. Times are changing. We may have to sell our business because we will be starving and fucking homeless if we don't. And if the business were to be under new ownership, there's be so much more that we could do. Nope, but because of the potentially new business ownership, J. Robert Spankenheimer gets really fucking pissed, so he goes on roller skates through like an office building, and nobody stops him, and then he goes to talk to the CEO of fucking everything. He's like, okay, you know, little shit, old con is dead, so yeah, just he comes with a brilliant idea. You know, it says it takes a little bit of time for the transaction of finalization to the business ownership to be complete. You have a week to find Grandma, even though she's already fucking dead. So anyway, J. Robert Spankenheimer comes up with a brilliant idea that Santa must have Grandma or something. So he decides to send him an email. Yeah, you know, he was just that easy to get in contact with, so you just want to see the Easter Bunny, boom, just fucking hit him up on Discord. I mean, like, you saw him murder your grandma. Like, why are you doing this? She died, like, almost a year ago. You should have been doing this from day fucking one. But nope, it turns out that Grandma is still alive, and Santa actually has her, and I guess she's just been vibing the North Pole, and no one seems to care at all. And keep in mind, Santa knows who everybody is, so through the process of deduction, like, how would he not figure out where the nearest hospital or police station is? Like, nope, I guess he just kept her hostage to the North Pole. I don't fucking know. Nope, he just keeps her at the North Pole like a fucking maniac. And I guess he's somehow not aware about how people are looking for her. Like, they even put her face on milk cartons. Hello, you're Santa, milk and cookies. So anyway, an elf comes into J. Robert Spankenheimer's room in the middle of the night, and they decide that they're gonna go to the North Pole to see Grandma. So, that's right, kids. If a midget comes into your room in the middle of the night, go with him to the North Pole. Great moral. Anyway, we get another terrible song, and it turns out that Grandma has amnesia, but I'm just gonna call it Alzheimer's because her husband's clearly showing some signs. And also, why does Santa, a Christian holiday mascot, have a stereotypical Jewish accent? Like, to be fair, so is Jesus, but like, it's just really distracting.
Every Christmas and helps his grandma in the kitchen. It's nice to finally meet someone from Cityville who still believes in me.
It is me, Bernie Sanders, and I am once again asking for your financial support by watching my new epic movie, Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer.
What is that in the sky?
Ho 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 ho. Grandma, look out.
It's Santa Claus and his reindeer. No 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 no.
Wait a second, if the grandma is German and Santa is Jewish, then oh, clearly she was a Nazi and he's just getting revenge. Am I right? Or am I right, boys? Anyway, they fly back to Cityville, and then Cousin Mel and her lawyer sees the grandma in the parking lot, so they decide to kidnap her? Nope, but then just Santa goes into the office building, and nobody seems to care at all.
We couldn't find her anywhere. She's missing again!
Since Grandma is nowhere to be found, and the man in the red suit here admitted he ran over her, I demand that you have Santa arrested for the disappearance of Grandma.
No!
The news that Santa had been arrested for the disappearance of Grandma was a shock, especially to Mrs. Claus.
Wait, what? Santa in jail. Santa in, what, in the hot, crispy Kentucky Fried Fuck?
One eternity later.
Okay, not only is Santa Claus real, and I'm pretty sure that wouldn't be the headline, it would be holy fucking shit, Santa Claus is real. Anyway, they're gonna sue Santa for keeping Grandma hostage in the North Pole for 9 months.
Santa's been arrested!
Except the way it transitioned is so fast and confusing as hell, like I just showed you. But anyway, since they're just trying to not have her involved in the case to initially prevent it, they keep her hostage at like a fucking ice cabin in the middle of nowhere, and she just takes orders from anybody. Like, I get she has no clue who any of these people are, but considering her condition displayed by the film, she's just not gonna take orders from anybody. Like, what is this, fucking Breaking Bad? Jesus Christ.
$, even if it's just $5. Your share as Grandpa's financial advisor is... woof. Woof?
Grandpa's gonna sue the pants off of Santa. That's what Grandpa's gonna do. Woo-hoo! Grandpa's gonna sue the pants off of Santa, 'cause Grandma would have wanted him to. Woo!
Okay, well, first, what the actual fuck was that song transition? And also, this is weirdly sexual for a kid's movie. I'm not fucking complaining, but this is weirdly sexual. And number 3, the song is only like a minute, but it feels like a fucking eternity. But anyway, we get the court scene, which makes no fucking sense. So J. Robert Spankenheimer goes in the ice cabin, and then he finds some chemical or something, which she makes 2 fruitcakes with. A normal one, and then the one without the chemical. Nope, but of course, Grandma gets her memory back because of the taste of the fucking fruitcake. So, yeah, go cure COVID and cancer. Good job, Jake. But he goes into the court and lets everybody try the 2 fruitcakes, and everyone likes the normal fruitcake, even though there was a musical number at how it sucked so much ass earlier in the film. And then, of course, the other one is fucking disgusting. And it was in Cousin Mel's possession the entire goddamn time. No, but it turns out the chemical makes the reindeer go fucking crazy. So it's established that she made Santa do this, even though, first of all, I thought she didn't know that Santa existed in this universe. Grandma and Santa would have to be at highly specific times for the collision to initially happen. Like, what are the fucking chances of that happening? If she planned it out, it makes no sense. And they still didn't prove that she Bill Cosby'd the fruitcake, which I guess makes sense, but you have no proof of her initially doing that. Yeah, it's established that she did do it, but you didn't prove it at all.
All right, I admit it. Yes, yes.
I hate it when I take a shit and water splashes in my asshole.
And?
I shot a successful rapper in the parking lot in Florida.
And?
I still watch Smosh.
And?
Steven Universe is a good show.
Arrest this woman for obstructing justice and almost ruining Christmas.
That's what you get for being selfish and stupid.
Oh, they even get to run Grandma over again. Funny. So overall, yeah, Grandma got run over by a reindeer. It's probably the most memorably dumb holiday special of all time. It's a shit movie based on a shit song that nobody likes, neither of which need to exist, but it includes a plot that is so forced because of a lack of a real story within the source material. But it's just overall confusing and kind of fucking painful to watch, but it's, at the same time, it's so stupid. You still want to see what happens, even if it makes no goddamn sense, and it just doesn't help that the main role of Jake Spankenheimer is just fucking insufferable. And overall, yeah, it's just pointless and bad. Nothing much left to say. But that's not the only Christmas special we're revisiting today. There's one more left to revisit, which is also the main subject of this video, but let's take another look at The Christmas Tree. So The Christmas Tree 1991, not the 69, 63, or 96 film, I think is actually worse than Rhapsody Street Kids. Now, I said Rhapsody Street Kids was worse twice, but I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. Revisiting this for this review, it is far worse. What the fuck? Oh my god, was I wrong? However, it is a really close second. Actually, an interesting thing to know is that the film, much like Rhapsody Street Kids, it only aired once on December 14th, 1991. Damn, that was like 11 days before the USSR collapsed.
Damn you, Christmas tree!
And also, this movie was directed by a Pokemon.
Flareon, deploy!
Anyway, let's cut the shit. So anyway, we start out with a narrator that explains that there's an orphanage run by some old bitch who neglects the children and treats them all like shit, and they all have nothing, so they think that the fucking pine tree in the backyard is magical.
Matilda was a very tricky person. She didn't really take good care of the children, but she made people think she did. For example, she had a pretty dress with bows and lace and a new pair of pants and a sweater to put on whichever child she was going to show off to the mayor. This way, every time the mayor came by, he always thought that Mrs. Mavilda was taking good care of her children.
Yeah, I like who the mayor, who's the inspector for some reason, just barely even fucking inspects the orphanage and just hands her fucking bags of money. Yeah, very professional distribution of pay. Makes total sense.
Good care of her children. But after he left a donation collected by the townspeople for the orphanage, Mrs. Mavilda would immediately take off the child's clothes and put them away in a closet.
Do not diddle kids, it's no good diddling kids. You shouldn't do it with anyone younger than...
FBI, open up!
Seriously, why is that in the movie? This was made by adults. They should know not to do that type of stuff. It's fucking disgusting. Oh, she's such a bitch that she doesn't even let the homeless dog Licorice, who probably has fucking rabies or something, because it's probably a good thing if they were playing with them in the house. Then some family willing to find work goes to the mayor's office, even though I highly doubt that it's his form of jurisdiction. But it turns out that he can send the husband to the lumber mill and the wife, Judy, and the kids to stay at the orphanage. And now is a perfect opportunity to showcase how fucking bad the voice acting is. It's not as, say, technically inconfident as the Slim Shady show, but oh my god, it is so bad. Miss Mavilda sounds like she's underwater like half the time.
You.
We come from the mayor's.
I know. The mayor just called.
I'd better go now.
Frank Sinatra over here doesn't even sound like he's clinically still alive.
I can put that old mattress on the floor for the children, and we will be just fine.
Hold it! Don't think your children are going to have special treatment here. They're going to stay with the other children and under the same rules and regulations.
I'm sorry.
Come, children.
Like, I get that she's a disgusting bitch and probably smells like cigarettes, but you're a nice person, but, like, you gotta fucking stand up for your kids, Jesus Christ. No, but anyway, her kids gotta stay with the others for some reason. This is fucking horrifying, oh my god. Then we continue with abysmal child voice acting.
Mommy, come here and see Mr. Topwell.
What?
Not when you go through the window.
What?
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
Like, I get the kid, Ellie Drygrass, who was in this and nothing else, and there's virtually no info on, unsurprisingly. It was probably like 2 or 3 when she recorded this, but when kids voicing kids doesn't always fail, sometimes it can capture the character very well.
You're a fat bitch.
You're a fat bitch.
But most of the time, no, it's not a good idea for kids to voice kids. And it certainly shows here, like in the scene where they introduce Mrs. Hopewell, the fucking pine tree in the backyard that all the kids think is magical for some reason.
Where is she? I can't see her.
Over there, Mommy.
I get they have nothing else and they've been treated like shit their whole lives, but like, that is such an unimaginative idea. Like, what the hell? But I guess it's trying to be like the giving tree because in the book, it kind of serves as a metaphor for the boy's mother. And, you know, the kids don't have parents in the story. Also, fuck you, Shel Silverstein. I just wanted to read the giving tree, not have fucking nightmares. Yeet. So anyway, Judy lets the kids go outside, and they even decorate Miss Hopewell with her dead relatives. And anyway, the mayor is back. Yep, again, he just hands her fucking bags of money like it's some drug trade or something. Is that the reason why everyone acts like a fucking robot? But anyway, it's almost Christmas time, and of course, the kids don't know what Christmas is.
Christmas, well, let me tell you about it. Christmas is a pretty and happy time of the year. A time when people get together. Friends with friends, children with their parents and grandparents, all together. People go out.
Why would you mention their parents, you fucking piece of shit?
People go out and buy their Christmas tree.
Christmas tree? What's that? It's a tree that's like Mrs. Hopewell. Like her?
Yes, just like her.
Is this the kid fucking drunk? What if it killed them to do a second fucking take? Oh my god. Then we get this horribly edited scene, which is implying that the 2 scenes are occurring at once, but just does the stupid fucking circle transition and you can't tell what's happening at all. It happens so quickly you can't fucking comprehend anything. Anyway, Miss Pavita Biscuit loses all the motherfucking money and then she can't get the children anything for Christmas, so she decides that the children can't go outside because it would make her financial loss more present, which conflicts with Judy's conditions. So of course the kids lose their shit and then Miss Mavilda just fucking, I don't know.
I know! What if I make that good girl into a bad one? Yeah! I'll make her into a thief, just like I did with the girl that worked with me before. It worked beautifully, but this time I'd better change it just a little.
What, we never fucking saw that. What the hell?
Wait for an hour and then call the police. Right. When you accuse her of stealing, the police will go after her. Good! We'll see you after Christmas, then. Soon I'll have those children back under my rules, just like before. And a warm fire in my room, with plenty of new wood. Mavilda, old girl! Sometimes I don't realize just how brilliant you are.
Are you right in the head? Do you have fucking Alzheimer's? Are you okay? Are you about to have a stroke?
You just
Anyway, this one kid was spying on her and she realizes that Miss Hopewell is about to be cut down. So anyway, they realize that they have to prevent this, but they can't go to the mayor's office because it's probably closed. So they're all pretty much fucked like my ears when I'm done watching this movie. And they decide that they need to go to the North Pole to tell Santa Santa to stop all the fucking shit from happening. Except, like, nobody knows where the fuck this is. Like, look at their map. This is like some random suburban neighborhood that's not anywhere near the goddamn North Pole. What planet do they live on? Like, what the fuck?
But I don't know where the North Pole is. Do you?
I don't. I don't either. Neither do I. He knows where the North Pole is. He does?
Dog, and he knows where the North Pole is for some reason, and I guess everyone's able to understand it. Man, should we convert the American government to communism? So one of the kids, Pappy, decides that he's gonna go to the North Pole to get help from Santa. So I'm pretty sure it's a continuity error, but he leaves during the night, and then we cut back during the day. So I assume he just went through all that overnight, and in those weather conditions and that torn-ass clothes. I mean, like, at least it's one of them, and not the whole crew of stupid cunts.
Who's that? Who's in there? You?
It's me, Pappy.
God fucking damn it. And also, you're loading a 40-pound child around. How do you not notice? Could you fucking breathe in there? Why? What the hell?
Few moments later.
Let's go, Licorice.
Wait, what? A bear? Why is it Baloo from the Jungle Book? Why is Baloo from the Jungle Book in this movie? And why isn't it a polar bear? Oh, fuck, she died. Good. Anyway, Miss Matilda is about to cut down Miss Hopewell with the help of her lumberjack guy. And then, wait, first of all, I thought it was snowing. Like, where'd it go?
Mommy, Mommy!
But where's Lily? Where is she?
She's gone, Mommy.
Oh, God, what do you mean? Ray.
Yep, that would be my reaction if one of my kids was supposedly at the North Pole, which is heavily infested with Baloos from the Jungle Book, and probably fucking died.
Wait a minute, hold it! What happened with the money that I've been donating? Why didn't Matilda buy toys for them? And look at them! They look like they haven't had new clothes in years. What if the inspector were to come?
You are the inspector, goddammit. Anyway, Miss Matilda points a chainsaw at the mayor and children.
That's what you think, children!
Seize that woman!
Stand back, you fool!
Yep, and she even gets struck by lightning, despite the fact that ice is a very poor electrical conductor. So anyway, then Santa... Oh, and then all the kids get new clothes because motherfucking movie. And Lily is alive. Fucking kill me. And Santa just starts fucking dropping gifts everywhere. Yeah, fuck, I just pick whatever's on the street. I don't give a fuck.
Oh, Mr. Mayor, I would be more than honored.
Wait a minute. You can't take this job. That's right. Because you'll be busy helping me raise 9 children.
9 children? But Ray, we only have 2 children. Do you mean that?
Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. I'm bored. Let's just adopt 9 more children. I mean 5. Of the ones that aren't yours, there's 5, not 9. What the fuck? Yeah, let's just adopt 5 more children just cause I don't give a fuck.
And Mrs. Matilda, well, Mrs. Matilda, she's going to be all right. From what I've heard, she went back to work in the orphanage as Judy's assistant. Well, don't worry about Mrs. Matilda. She's good now. She learned that you always win when you are good.
Yes, remember kids, you always win when you are good. And yes, the clearly mentally ill caretaker who neglects their children, has a gambling problem, threatens the children and mayor with a chainsaw, gets off completely scot-free, and continues to fulfill a similar position in which she could very easily repeat similar processes. Absolute worst Christmas movie I've ever seen. Like, I know that's probably really obvious, but there was just clearly no effort at all. The story tries to be heartwarming, but it's also so stupid and obnoxious that anyone with any form of intelligence would look at this and say it's stupid. Half the dialogue and just the events in the story are fucking incomprehensible, and there's just no heart at all. Like, at least with Rap City Street Kids, okay, not only is it actually funny out of context and in small doses, or if you're like drunk or high or something, at least with Rap City Street Kids, there's something at least memorable within there. You know, it's a few steps away from just being a little bit memorable, I guess. Obviously, with an improved dialogue, plot, characters, animation, it wouldn't be good, but like, you could look look back on that, you're like, yeah, that was nice. That warmed my heart a little bit. And there is that potential of a good movie within it. And don't get me wrong, Rhapsody Street Kids is fucking horrendous.
I have a great idea.
What? Have a picnic?
Just watch how smart I am.
And you know when I am pointing out the positives, which I didn't know existed, of Rhapsody Street Kids, you know there is something wrong here. So yeah, that's the end of the review. I hope you have a happy whatever the fuck you celebrate. I celebrate the birth of Stalin. And don't worry, a 5th season is happening. Alright, Romeo and Juliet is a tragedy play written by William Shakespeare, aka a dead dude from 1597, which you probably already know that, so I don't gotta tell you the plot and blah 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 famous public domain story adaptations up the ass. As early as 1908, but you may recognize the 1968 version and Romeo plus Juliet, a postmodern adaptation set in the modern day from 1996, even starring Leonardo DiCaprio before he started f***ing 25-year-olds. And keep in mind, in the original play, Romeo is 16 and Juliet is 13, so little did we know Leo is great casting. But one day, some jackass thought the pun of Gnomeo and Juliet was hilarious, so somehow it got made!
Say, look at this! I've been cleaning out my nest, and I found an old book of my poetry.
Christiano, we're far out there, Christiano. And I would be there.
If a shitty movie has a pun title, there's a very good chance they came up with the title before they came up with the plot. Like, why make a retelling of Romeo and Juliet with garden gnomes? Since the story's been done 1,000 times, you gotta do something new to justify its existence. But why garden gnomes? To be funny? Like, who even likes those? But I guess the pun was epic enough to get the project off the ground. I mean, like, Muppet Christmas Carol, I'd argue, is genuinely the best version of A Christmas Carol. So I think that should be the standard for retellings of public domain properties with a unique spin. In common with Muppet Carol, Gnomeo and Juliet also has Michael Caine in it. He was also in Cars 2, meaning that 2011 was not a good year for Michael Caine animated movies. Releasing in 2011, Gnomeo and Juliet made $193.9 million on a $36 million budget, meaning that it was a success only on the basis that it was relatively cheap to make. I swear, I saw part of this movie, maybe not all of it, in like a school cafeteria before Christmas break, once it came out on DVD or something like that. And legitimately, the only thing I remembered is that there's this one gag where, like, a plastic fish keeps sinking to the bottom of the very tiny backyard sinkhole water thing. And it made me wish I was watching Rango, which coincidentally also had a plastic goldfish in it. Yes, both of these movies have a plastic goldfish, and I probably only realized that as a kid because I was bored out of my mind. And I'm an adult, and I'm still bored out of my mind watching this. So since it's a garden gnome retelling, the Montagues and Capulets are divided by their owners in yards in a duplex. Division is also based on the color of their hats. Segregation, oh yeah. Crime, racism. Subject, blue garden gnomes. It takes a Toy Story approach where humanoid character objects are secretly sentient in general. Because kids just love gardening decoration humor for 90 minutes. Like, aren't lawnmowers hilarious? The settings are incredibly limited, unlike Toy Story, because it's just dicking off in like the same 2 backyards, few exceptions. Now, given that this is a PG adaptation, the conclusion of Romeo and Juliet of being super emo and double committing suicide is excluded. I guess the original play's age gap too. Although the original suicide ending is alluded to, but does not affect our protagonist. The movie has an opening narration which just sucks itself off by being like, yeah kids, this is the new cool version. We got garden gnomes. The death of Mercutio at the beginning of Act 3 in the play is somewhat alluded to with the fake-out death of Gnomeo instead, meaning that this character has 2 fake-out deaths in the span of 30 minutes. But don't worry, after the fake-out death, they have an epic dance party, 2 of the worst kids movie cliches in a row. But I guess it's not the most unreasonable, because I'd love to boogie down if we magically ended racism. So the plot just basically jumps from familiar story beats in whatever Garden Gnome race war conflicts they could come up with. Many of the secondary characters have plot equivalents and aren't technically direct adaptations. Like Juliet's nurse is replaced by a frog who is super quirky and would be played by Awkwafina if this came out now. The animation is fine. Some of the little details like dust and scratches are commendable. It's confident enough for a 30 million animated movie in 2011. Humans are seen throughout the movie and their movements are incredibly awkward. It feels like motion capture was inserted, and you rarely see the human faces in a visible frame, so they might have actually done that. Some of the brief visual gags like the house address being to be or not to be are like little details are commendable, but are completely overshadowed by lame gnome jokes for all you gnome lovers.
I'm sorry about your son.
I'm sorry about your daughter.
Wait, what do you mean son and daughter? Do they f***? One of the associated production companies was Rocket Pictures. This is Elton John's film production company, and he was a producer on this movie. Something tells me the director just wanted to hang out with him or something and wanted to dick ride his soundtrack involvement with The Lion King and Road to El Dorado. He was in Bob the Builder, Sky's the Limit. Like, he was clearly only given the role of executive producer for marketability. 2 generic ballads, Hello Hello, featuring Lady Gaga, and Love Build a Garden, were written for the film, as well as a shitty pop cover of Crocodile Rock, which John provides some backing vocals for. This is unfortunate because John made a comeback with his 2010 LP with Leon Russell, The Union. Wait, you don't know what I'm talking about. This film just oddly sucks off the fact that they got Elton John involved. Like, the soundtrack is just an Elton John greatest hits. Even some of the score consists of Elton John melodies, the main theme being an orchestral rendition of Your Song. It's an incredibly unsparing use of licensed music, like they literally play Saturday Night's Alright for Fighting in the daytime. Like, they're just throwing Elton John greatest hits at the wall, great songs, not used sparingly. Maybe that's where all the budget went. Elton John is all over this movie in its obnoxious celebrity exploitation that he agreed to. And I've seen Elton John live before, so I know my Elton John. The Tiki Room song from the Enchanted Tiki Room attraction at Walt Disneyland Cali is also in this movie, cause funny, I guess. This is also technically a Disney movie because Touchstone Pictures, which is owned by Disney, was involved. And allegedly, John Lasseter rejected this idea. Like, the original people behind this wanted this to be a Pixar movie. Thankfully, John Lasseter was making good movies like Cars 2. Like, it's barely movie length and has one of the worst gimmicks for an adaptation I've seen. It's the anti-Muppet Christmas Carol, the peak of public domain gimmickal adaptations. The gimmick only conceived for a pun used incredibly unsparingly, like nothing happens, barely a movie, complete slog to get through. It's just a forgettable kids movie that didn't make an exceptional amount of money, but was still viable for the studios involved. But it ain't over because the film actually got a sequel, which might be the most pointless sequel of all time.
Hi everyone, I'm Elton John. Check out my new movie, Sherlock Gnomes, in theaters now.
Sherlock Gnomes in 2018. Once again, they clearly came up with the title before they came up with the plot. The title may imply that it's a spin-off, but it's a direct sequel. Norm of the North 4 and Land Before Time 14 are more justifiable sequels than this. Norm of the North was a hate bandwagon because it was so poorly received, so it got 3 direct-to-video movies to capitalize on the hate watching. The Land Before Time made money, so it makes sense it got 13 sequels and a show. But nobody gives a shit about Gnomeo and Juliet, and 7 years after the original by release date? Like, were they trying to cash in on nostalgia value? I mean, like, that's why Disney sequels have huge gaps. Just look at Inside Out 2, which just released. And this wasn't like a straight-to-Netflix sequel or anything. This was a major motion picture in America. No, a straight-to-Netflix sequel would make too much sense. That's like if The Star or Animal Crackers got a sequel this year, but no, this actually happened. So Sherlock Gnomes isn't even the main character. It's Gnomeo and Juliet, and Sherlock Gnomes and Dr. Gnome Watson do tag along to the conflict. Like, why not just make a PG animated Sherlock Holmes movie? There aren't a whole lot of them. It's public domain. But I guess that wouldn't be epic because kids just love garden gnomes. It's sort of a Sherlock Holmes retelling. It's just a generic kids adventure with the inclusion of Sherlock, Watson, Irene Handler, and Jim Moriarty. Moriarty isn't a gnome, he's like a pie mascot. He's like a porcelain figure that jumps off a shipping van and is sentient. His design is atrocious. It's not much of a detective movie, although unlike the first, they actually don't stick to the same two backyards. I guess that's slightly an improvement. Congrats, film, you have locations. The main plot being that now that the Montagues and Capulets are chill now, gnomes randomly start going missing, so they have to get the help of Sherlock Gnomes. Sherlock is barely a detective, like he looks at clues and like deduction, I guess, but like a case is barely cracked. This is the least detective-y detective movie I've ever seen. The disappearance of the gnomes is even on the news. I guess they have a news station now. Totally not lazily dumping exposition. There's also an attempt at romantic drama. Juliet wants to garden and Gnomeo doesn't. Married couple conflict. Hooray. Watson has a fake out death 35 minutes in and like he's a twist villain. More cliche crap. So he kidnaps all the gnomes because he's angry that Sherlock neglects him. Then Watson's henchmen betray him, so he's magically good again. Like, he's a twist villain and redeemed in the span of like 3 minutes. I'm not making this up. Why is he even redeemed? Why is he even a twist villain? But Moriarty isn't the good guy either, so they still have to defeat him and Watson's henchmen. The Elton John exploitation is back immediately. The animation is a slight improvement, probably because technology just got better because it'd been so long. Sherlock and Watson actually have pretty great designs for their concept. That's about as great as a Sherlock gnome could look. There are brief 2D animated segments inside Sherlock's mind, which actually gives good brief 2D animation. Irene has a musical number sung by Mary J. Blige because a pop song for marketability. Her relationship conflict with Sherlock is never resolved. Barely a movie, barely a Sherlock Holmes story, and is easily the most pointless sequel of all time. It bombed as if anybody wanted this, and even making this is legitimately one of the stupidest decisions in the history of film. And since Gnomeo and Juliet is something that the children of 2011 are like, oh yeah, that existed over. And thankfully, this legit attempt to franchise it didn't work because I'd hate to see more public domain characters get their gnome treatment for 1 hour and 17 minutes each. But the Muppets being a beloved family franchise with an underperforming installment is often a death sentence in Hollywood. With being given less money, quality control is no longer retained when you're a household name. Studios want your money, but don't want to spend the money to do the IP's justice. It's enough to keep the train chugging, but with very little money. Franchises often refuse to die and can continue without big budget projects. So it was apparent that the Muppets weren't going to the movies for a very long time. What did we get with the boss gone and no money? Well, the Muppets weren't given the death sentence, but given the life support sentence, which is arguably a fate worse than death. Dare I say, I've been coming down with a serious case of the Hollywood blues.
I'm a rich man, getting richer. Here's my money, let me count it. I'm so happy.
Kermit Swamp Years is a steaming pile of f***ing dog shit that makes me want to Kermit suicide. Now, let me elaborate. Half-baked, steaming pile of f***ing dog shit. I wonder if Shrek had anything to do with its conception. Oh man, kids are really into swamps nowadays. Why else did we get green Twinkies? One of my earliest memories ever was trying the Shrek 3 Minty Mud Bath Milkshake at McDonald's. This film was actually shot at Disney MGM Studios, now Disney Hollywood Studios, but Sony owns and distributed the film under Sony Wonder, now known as Sony Pictures Kids Zone. So I guess Disney wanted nothing to do with it, considering the Muppets had both underperformed with Disney and Sony. And let me repeat, Disney in the 2000s wanted nothing to do with this movie. And Kermit's Swamp Years came out the same year as Cinderella 2, Dreams Come True, Hunchback of Notre Dame 2, and Tarzan and Jane. This would have fit right in. How did Disney not want this? The Henson Company had next to nothing to do with it beyond legal recognition and casting. Like I said, From Space was pretty half-baked. Jerry Jewell was one of 3 writers on Space, and that film had some substance. Space would be Jewell's last writing credit, as he passed away in 2005. Another explanation to the arguable consensus of a quality dip in writing. The film does have the normal puppeteer team at the time, thankfully including Steve Whitmire as younger Kermit and adult Kermit. This does exclude Frank Oz, as his role was limited after Christmas Carol from scheduling conflicts, but after this point he would not consistently puppeteer on Muppet projects. He had to dub his lines in for Treasure Island and Space, so it was only a matter of time before he took his entertainment career elsewhere.
Sorry, Wazowski, but Randall said I'm not allowed to fraternize with victims of his evil plot.
Look, Dad, there's a bear.
No, Christine, that's a frog. Bears wear hats.
Jerry Nelson also stopped appearing in projects around the early 2000s due to his failing health. With the exception of the occasional Sesame Street appearance, this also applies to Frank Oz returning on occasion to Sesame Street, while other performers Eric Jacobson would replace Oz. Nelson's characters' roles were reduced, but Nelson did voice act to combat health restrictions. Up until 2012, when Nelson would pass away and he was fully replaced by Matt Vogel. His recasting allowing more appearances of his characters. Around Y2K, a time of the Muppets being on life support, also coincidentally and unfortunately marked the beginning of the end for most of the original cast members. But Kermit's Swamp Years is an absurd loss of identity for the franchise. This is a common thing that happens on franchise life support. Familiar characters just get inserted into random scenarios. So like, it's a prequel to the Muppet movie about Kermit living in the swamp. The title is actually contradictory to the plot. The actual plot is about Kermit's first experience in the surrounding real world. And this concept may seem odd because of the franchise continuity issues, but there's never been an attempt at franchise continuity. The Muppet movie showing the characters meeting, contradicting Muppet babies in Manhattan and every other non-movie within a movie, etc. However, Kermit's family has been seen previously on multiple instances besides Channel Awesome's Worst Muppet list with Robin the Frog. But besides Robin, they've never been prominent characters. I guess they just looked at his family's other appearances and were like, F it, let's make a movie out of that. Hey kid, you like Kermit? Here's a shitty movie about nothing but him. F you. This movie does not even seem to understand the logic of the Muppets. The Muppets just being a form of life that casually coexists with mankind and isn't supposed to be questioned, but they're never treated like animals. This movie makes Muppets animals and not another accepted member of their society. A distracting inconsistency in the basic premise of the characters. Basically just doing whatever, even if the characters weren't designed for this scenario. Like in parentheses movie 79, Doc Hopper never wants to eat Kermit because he's an animal. He just wants him to promote cannibalism for his company. So here the random scenario contradicts the premise of the characters. Like a lot of direct-to-video garbage like Kung Fu Magoo, a Mr. Magoo action movie, or Garfield's Pet Force. F it, Garfield superheroes. How could we forget the various Tom and Jerry movies that are just shittier retellings of pre-existing movies but with scenes of Tom and Jerry randomly spliced in between familiar plot points? This featuring the plot of Kermit's childhood friend Goggles being captured by a pet store owner and obtained by a high school science teacher who likes to dissect frogs. There's only animal Muppets in this film, and they're treated like actual animals in universe. And since it is a Kermit prequel, other Muppets aren't relevant to the story. However, some of the characters are alluded to in some of the most distracting and insulting fan service I've ever seen. Animal is a keychain. Statler and Waldorf are turtles, I think.
The frogs are fighting. I hope they're fighting. I shelled out a lot for this skybox.
But actual Statler and Waldorf de-aged make a cameo, them being the only non-animal Muppets. So are they considered animals too? Miss Piggy is a live-action pig. They didn't even make all the animals puppets. And Kermit meets a kid who lives at the Henson residence. So is that supposed to be young Jim Henson? And like Kermit was a fictional character he created after this frog? The credits literally says young Jim Henson. Why create a fictional in-universe explanation as to how Kermit the turquoise monster turned frog became a character? Like, what a confusing middle finger to the audience. Also, shitty CG, shitty toilet humor like Kermit's childhood friend flashing his ass twice.
Well, if it isn't the Soggy Pants Brothers.
Oh, yeah, well, we ain't brothers, see? And we don't even wear pants! Look! See?
Did you just moon me, Wartface?
No, I was just showing you my pantless behind.
Well.
A nerd character. A bully character. A talking dog. Yeah, there's a talking dog that is sometimes a Muppet and sometimes live action. Like, just make it one or the other. The Muppet strings are seen on tons of instances. In fact, the entire plot feels like it was designed around to require the least amount of puppeteers as possible. Although there are some scenes with a lot of frog Muppets moving. The entire movie also forgetting the concept of the Muppets being entertainers. The Muppet Show showing their entertainment and dumb behind the scenes bullshit because they're entertainers. The Muppet movie is a road trip, sure, but it's to go to Hollywood because they're entertainers. There is one scene where Kermit discovers movies and he decides he wants to be in them. Fuck it. Like, it actively feels like a ripoff. It does so little in relation to the source material and butchers any original elements because it's all f***ing cliche crap. Oh yeah, it ain't over, motherfuckers. The motherfucking saga continues for the Muppets in 2002 because later that year, we also got It's a Very Merry Muppet Christmas Movie, or as I like to call, the Muppet Shitty Generic Holiday Special, airing on NBC. Just look at the DVD cover, you can tell how shitty and boring it is. The characters aren't doing anything exclusive to the narrative. They're like in Christmas attire and on a Christmas background. The title is so vague, like, what happens on Christmas? The film is simultaneously a generic Save the Rec Center movie, Christmas special, and It's a Wonderful Life parody. A clusterfuck with 2 extra cliches. Now, like I said, the Muppets have had a long history of using simplicity to its benefit to subvert cliches. Here, it appears as if it's cliche because it's lazy. Like, the villain is a big bad corporate villain. Bro thinks she awful be bad.
'Cause I'm awful! I'm awful! Be bad! Oh, get down!
No, literally, the corporation is called Be Bad.
If you need boxes for the move, you can check the back of the liquor store.
Oh wait, it's subverting the genre because it's an evil business woman.
For the record, I consider that flying pig to be a coincidence and not a sign from God.
And an atheist.
God? You're not real. I don't believe in you.
Well, I am real myself.
Not for long.
The special was directed by Kirk R. Thatcher, who you may know as a puppeteer behind a lot of the creatures from Return of the Jedi. Star Wars easily at its most Muppety. Film is also partially resemblant of Muppets Tonight, with the inclusion of Johnny Fiamma, Sal Howard, but no Clifford. There is like a weird religious angle where Whoopi Goldberg plays God. Now I know it's a Christ Mass movie, and the Noah's Ark joke from earlier, but like, God played by Whoopi Goldberg being a side character viewing the movie is just an odd angle to take. At the beginning of It's a Wonderful Life, the angels in the sky talk, and they're like, oh, fuck it, let's make that part of the plot. As it is partially a Wonderful Life adaptation, just Dick writing Christmas Carol's adaptational success. It's also a musical, like, sometimes, with like 3 songs, 2 of which are covers of Jingle Bells and Santa Baby, and 1 original song which also does get a reprised, which is dog shit, called Everyone Matters.
Everyone matters. Everyone for worse or for better. We can change the world around us.
Okay, fine message, but the lyrics are incredibly lazy. It never tells us why everyone matters. The Wonderful Life adaptation is so lazily tacked on and comes off as nostalgia bait resolution. The entire movie isn't a parody, it just parodies lots of Christmas movies, like A Grinch and A Christmas Story as well, but there's nothing clever or transformative about the parodies. It's just throwing Christmas shit at the wall. Muppets Tonight had a little dated parody humor, but this just has atrocious parody humor. There's a scene with a Steve Irwin impersonator. Apparently the late Steve Irwin was supposed to play himself, but couldn't due to scheduling conflicts. But like, it just goes on for way too long and isn't funny.
A permit for a topless nightclub?
Better safe than sorry, okay? Good point.
There is so much just weird sexual humor. Pepe at this era is just severely flanderized. Instead of being interested in the ladies, okay, he's just flat out horny. And this was after Disney bought them. How did he get more fucking horny? Did they really have to make Scooter a stripper? In this movie, Pepe wants to fuck the villain.
I love your spirit. Well, listen to me, my little king prawn king. You answer this question, and I'll give you...
Did f***ing Linkara write this?
But Pepe, I want you.
Oh, I want you to...
Why are her feet so close to the camera? I can't even say did Tarantino direct this, because if he did, it probably wouldn't be dog shit. Speaking of dogs and shit, I actually do like one joke, the Triumph cameo.
Muppet movies are always the best.
You mean that?
For me to poop on!
Right, you got me again. Bye-bye.
I used to be obsessed with Triumph when I was like 7. Triumph the Insult Comic Dog was a character first debuting on Conan, the only good living talk show host. He just popped up in a lot of stuff afterward throughout the 2000s.
So what's going on here? You've got a little future nerd in here?
Yes, future nerd, future Jedi.
When is he due?
June 27, 6 weeks.
Wow. That's the last time you'll ever see female genitalia.
His catchphrase was, "For me to poop on."
Listen to me. The Sopranos is the best, as everyone knows, show on television, yes? For me to poop on.
And it was kind of like an early internet meme. I used to watch For Me to Poop On compilations like all the time. And this crossover cameo is actually pretty clever, nostalgia bias aside. In fact, I used to see this scene a lot in For Me to Poop On compilations.
No! No! I hate you, Muppet!
The ending is shit. Kermit's like, "Oh no, I don't want my friends to work at a strip club." So f it, he's ready for any challenge that comes his way. But then Pepe's like, "Hey, you fucking awful be-bad bitch, you can't do that because there's a piece of paper that makes it a historical landmark. You can't tear down our theater," and limits any chance of the resolution of It's a Wonderful Life of accepting challenge. Given that it came out in 2002, it's very safe to assume that it was in development before 9/11. And in this movie, when it starts getting to the shitty Wonderful Life parody, Kermit is sent into the world where he was never born, and he goes to Piggy's house, and you can see the Twin Towers in her window, meaning that Kermit Kermited 9/11. Why else are the towers in the world where he was never born? That error is legitimately the best thing about this movie. You see, kids, this is why you edit out the Twin Towers of your movies that filmed before 9/11. The film has 0 point to exist, has none of the perfection of Christmas Carol, none of the charm of Family Christmas, none of the charm of the John Denver special, its spiritual successor, the Lady Gaga special as well, and Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, and the Christmas Toy, and the Great Santa Claus Switch, etc. There are so many better Muppet Christmas options than this. After Y2K, the Henson Company was going up in flames. Now, I won't get into all the legal and fiscal bullshit going on at the time, but it was apparent that beyond Sesame Street being on season 35, nothing was really selling. In fact, they decided to sell Sesame Street to Sesame Workshop, the non-profit primarily involved with Sesame Street. But there was one company they could go to for profit, place the boss always wanted. What he would have intended if it weren't for his death.
Sure is swell to see all the Muppets here at Walt Disney World.
And we'll be seeing you soon with more Muppet stuff because that's the way the boss would want it.
So not the entire company and all of their IPs, but the Muppet Show franchise IP specifically was sold to Disney. This excludes their Sony collabs, Sesame Street, Fraggle Rock, etc., the Muppet Show spin-offs only with the exception of the Sony collabs, as well as the rights to the 1997 Disney Junior series, Bear in the Big Blue House, which was airing until 2006 on Disney Channel, Disney no longer only distributing the series, now gaining full ownership. The acquisition fully being completed by 2004. The Henson Company still having full ownership of everything but the Muppets and Sesame Street for the most part. Now, of course, Kermit was on Sesame Street's early years, so Disney does not own those specific appearances. So don't expect to see Croaker the Frog from Kermit's swamp years on a Disney park. They legally can't, probably, I don't know. The Muppets and Bear were bought for $75 million, which is around $124 million in today's money. And if you know anything about showbiz budgeting, that's not a whole lot. What else did Disney drop that year? Well, Home on the Range and The Incredibles, which they owned by 2006, so we'll include that. Estimating with inflation, Home on the Range had a $181 million budget and The Incredibles had a $152 million budget. The Muppets had become worth so little that the brand in its entirety was sold for less than the budget of The Incredibles, with inflation. This is nothing compared to the $7.4 million in 2006 Disney bought Pixar for, the extra $4 billion in 2009 money they bought Marvel for, and the $4 billion in 2012 money they bought Lucasfilm for. Now, that might not be the most fair comparison since they bought characters, not a company, but you figured they'd be worth more than less than half the budget of a shitty live-action remake and not even $1 billion. Inflation application or not, the Muppets' price is like half the budget of a mainstream release for the entire IP, and this was once the biggest show on television. This seemingly may have been a revoking of the life support sentence from the Henson Company, and even if Disney wouldn't be doing the hottest again until the 2010s, it was truly another nail in the coffin for the franchise. If Henson could see what Disney would become in the following decades, it would not be what the boss would have wanted. Even with creative supervision from familiar people, it became very apparent very quickly that Disney in the 2000s was not fit for the Muppets. They appeared on Disney Channel and other cheap minored things Disney owned for marketing reasons, but they yet to come back with a mainstream project. It's not like they bought them for billions.
I didn't buy you for billions so you could play around debating!
Actually, Zach Sherwin, they bought the Muppets for less than billions. Multiple projects were attempted, but only one made it through development, seemingly in an attempt to revive the now acclaimed Christmas Carol and Treasure Island. According to Oz, The Wizard of was one of Jim Henson's favorite movies, in addition to the 39 film being one of the most cherished films ever. It being referenced or acknowledged tons of times throughout the Muppet chronology as previously described. The Wizard of Oz is also a favorite of mine. It's one of those movies you can like as a kid, but you truly gotta revisit as an adult to appreciate. I wasn't obsessed with it as a kid or anything, but I did like it. If it was being reran on TNT or whatever, I would watch it. It wasn't a masterpiece in my childhood eyes because I didn't understand it. One problem I had as a kid was that the wizard was just like an old dude and not some mythical figure they'd been hyping up the whole movie and he posed himself as. Now, of course, that's the point. He gives the characters things they had their entire life, so it makes sense that he's not a mythical figure, but I didn't understand that because I was a stupid child. But The Wizard of Oz is in a weird state of public domain hell, where the 39 film that made the property cherished is not public domain. 39 movie is based off the book series Oz, released from 1900 to 1920, written by L. Frank Baum. In the year 2024, all works before 1928 are automatically public domain, in addition to the original book being over 95 years old and L. Frank Baum passing away in 1919, over 75 years ago. However, the 39 film adaptation is not public domain and won't be public domain until 2035, and especially wasn't in 2005, when the Muppets version released. So due to the fact that the original books are so old, you can legally do whatever you want with the World of Oz, just not anything that was exclusively created for the 39 classic. And that actually includes more than you think. Even the iconic ruby slippers aren't public domain.
One time a rooster took a inside of the barn. Let's have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Put him up, put him up. Oh, I like to wipe my ass with his tail. It's not my dick, it's my tail.
But because of one of the all-time classic films' source material being public domain, there exist tons of other adaptations made decades later just dick-riding the original success, tricking people into thinking it's an official sequel. People assumed there was a copyright issue surrounding the re-release of the Sesame Street episode 847, but it's a public domain character, and there's nothing legally preventing Margaret Hamilton from playing the character elsewhere. But despite the 39 film being based on a book series, mainly based on the first book, there was never an official sequel. The film wasn't a huge hit in 39, but made bank through tons of theatrical re-releases because of the film's sheer critical acclaim, and the film is older than TV, so when TV came out, it was reran a lot. However, some spins on the source material have reached success, including the Broadway musical Wicked, a musical prequel spin-off about the Wicked Witch of the West. The 39 version isn't even the first adaptation. The oldest surviving movie adaptation is from 1910, created to fulfill a contractual obligation associated with Baum's debt caused by the failure of his theatrical productions, as well as radio plays adapting the Oz books. The 39 version taking notes by making it a musical. The 1910 version is 13 minutes long, and Toto is like a dude in a bulldog costume. I did see Disney's Oz the Great and Powerful in theaters as a double feature with either Despicable Me 2 or Iron Man 3 in 2013. I can't remember. What I also can't remember is literally anything about this movie. Return to Oz is somewhat beloved given that it's in the same kids movie subgenre as Labyrinth, being a little creepy in a fantasy world. There is not one, but two Tom and Jerry Oz movies. Also in 2013, I remember seeing trailers for Legends of Oz, Dorothy's Return. The title just screams dick riding because we legally can if we're careful. Can't forget my favorite animated sequel, Wizard of Oz 3, Dorothy Goes to Hell.
Oh no! I'm the sandwich. I'm gonna take you to hell. Right after I shove this cactus up my baloney asshole and vagina!
Keep in mind, Disney does not own the beloved Oz from 39, so with the Muppets trying to retell the story without any of the famous additions, how do they do it? Well, as someone who loves both Oz and Muppets, it's a steaming pile of shit. It is almost as bad as Kermit's swamp years. Muppets Wizard of Oz was directed by Kirk R. Thatcher because his last two Muppet projects were so great.
Hi there, Mr. Oz. Are you by chance in relation to Frank Oz?
The actual plot of the Muppet spin is more resemblant of the adaptation, adapting what could be done without copyright infringement. And although the Muppets are well known for song covers, including Wizard of Oz songs mentioned earlier, they were not licensed probably due to hectic fees that Disney would not want to pay considering it's a TV movie. They bought the Muppets for next to nothing, so they wanted to spend no money. The film, much like generic holiday special, is a kind of musical. The songs are so far and few between that it barely evolves the story. The shot composition within the numbers is incredibly limited. The opening number is like a shitty R&B music video pandering to the youth of 2005. One positive is that there was some thought put into the casting. Now, if we compare previous Muppet Wizard of Oz parodies, Dorothy is no longer Miss Piggy and her dog Foo-Foo is no longer Toto, with Scooter no longer being the Scarecrow. The Scarecrow being played by Kermit, which makes more sense given that he's a main protagonist, and because of Scooter's reduced role after Hunt's death. Scooter does get to play the assistant to the wizard here, which is a funny parallel given that he's still the gopher. Kermit also played the Scarecrow on Muppet Babies. Rolf has previously been Toto because dog, but once again reduced role after the boss's death. Gonzo has consistently played the Tin Thing and Fozzie as the Cowardly Lion. Here, Pepe plays Dorothy's pet prawn. Dorothy, being the main protagonist of the story like previous adaptations, was a human, and she's played by Ashanti, the R&B singer who I guess was popular in 2005 or something. Ashanti's performance sucks. It feels like a celebrity role for advertising and not to enact a familiar face and voice. Miss Piggy plays the witches, and getting to see Piggy as both a hero and a villain is actually a pretty clever decision to take advantage of Piggy's comically bipolar nature. Even some of the minor roles are pretty good choices, like Salmonella as one of the flying monkeys. Clifford has a cameo, which is his last English appearance. The ensemble is used sparingly, it's just that Dorothy's actress sucks and the material the cast has to work with is lazy dog shit. Since Toto is sentient, in this instance he wants women from the wizard, and you guessed it, weird sexual humor again, but this time it's even worse. Johnny Fiamma keeps calling Piggy hot.
She's hot.
Rizzo knows what porn is.
Yeah, how do the producers of Girls Gone Wild do it?
It's a Kermit!
We even get bad CG and weird sexual humor.
Are you sure there isn't anything else I could do you for?
No. You see, I already have a girlfriend. She's a chicken.
Oh. A chicken, eh?
Yeah.
Now, this is actually a reference to the source material. One change the 39 film makes is that the entire ensemble first meets the wizard in his talking head form. In the first book, which the 39 primarily adapts, the characters have to meet the wizard individually, and there's a different physical appearance for each character. Dorothy meeting the head we see in the film. This is seemingly done to condense the film's runtime. The Scarecrow meets the wizard in the form of a bad bitch, but here the Tin Man, played by Gonzo, meets the bad bitch in the form of Camilla. And it's a commendable reference, but it's extremely unfunny. There are also some satirical elements of exclusive elements to the public domain source material. The Scarecrow is given bran flake cereal instead of a diploma, a comedic take on the practical Scarecrow brain he's given consisting of bran pins and needles, which in the 39 is changed to a diploma. Dorothy's slippers are not red, since that's actually trademarked since it was a change in the adaptation. If you've ever wondered why there was no Witch of the South in the film, it's because there's two good witches, the Witch of the South and the Witch of the North, contrary to the two evil witches, the East, who dies at the beginning, and the West, the main antagonist of the story. In the movie, the good witch Glinda was a combination of two characters, the two good witches, seemingly to condense source material once again. Since the Witch of the North is only in the beginning and the Witch of the South is only in the end to help Dorothy get back home, the name Glinda was taken from the Witch of the South, with the movie eliminating the South and having Glinda to be the North. But this change creates an issue of why doesn't Glinda help Dorothy go back to Kansas at the beginning of the movie if all it required was the slippers? Which is kind of like an infamous minor nitpick in film history, but it actually has a reason as a result of adaptational changes. And it is kind of mocked here with Dorothy going back to the Witch of the North to meet the Witch of the South, who is still named Glinda, instead of meeting the Witch of the South individually, and mocks the simple solution that the 39 creates. But that is a really f***ing complicated joke. Who the hell is gonna understand that besides shitty internet reviewers? You probably didn't even understand what I just said. These super specific references are commendable, but like, it's not surrounded by jokes any audience member could understand. There is one good joke that doesn't require you to know the source material.
All-powerful wizard.
Why would they think that about you?
You know why? Because I could do this. And
Oh my god.
Like, that's the type of Muppet humor that's been lost by 2005, just little things that catch you off guard. It's a movie where a lot of the pieces are in the right place, but those right pieces don't mean much when it's surrounded by so much dog shit. It's not funny, it's fucking boring, the production value is ass, which is unfortunate because the Muppet casting and source material is great. I genuinely think it could have worked. Like, it has more redeeming qualities than generic holiday special, but it's easily worse because of its prominent negative qualities. It was poorly received because it's a fucking pile of shit, so what were they gonna do next? Well, it became apparent that the amount of money Disney was willing to invest was shrinking. A French Muppet show aired which was only made in and for French audiences.
Moi, j'étais en train d'écouter mon MP3.
Eh ben oui, mais on reprend là. Dis donc, MP3, je peux écouter, ça a l'air énorme.
Ah ouais, c'est bien. Regarde, on peut écouter de la musique et tout. C'est vraiment absolument
Yes, some random French network got the rights to the Muppets. Disney would never do that now. This might be the one time they've not been greedy over an intellectual property. What the f***? Clifford is in it for his last Muppet appearance ever, not played by Kevin Clash. In fact, none of the team in any department was involved, only one country could watch it, it was a huge flop, so what do they do now? We just f***ing had a generic holiday special. Why do we need another one, also directed by Kirk R. Thatcher? Like, don't harass him on Twitter or anything, but compared to Frank Oz and Brian Henson as a main creative, this guy's creative direction for the franchise sucks ass. That might be Disney's fault for corporate meddling, but often this guy's name on a Muppet project is a red flag. One of the main selling points of the special is Paul Williams. The most legendary Muppet songwriter returned for the special, and the songs are fine. There's nothing to work with. Paulie tried his hardest. Oh yeah, a song about the post office.
Our goal is pure, we're making sure that Santa gets his mail.
Without good material, you can't really expect any further good evolution. It is so shitty and boring that it feels like a Hallmark movie. You remove the Muppets from everything and it would be the exact same movie. The whole thing looks like stock footage. Replace Kermit with a Hollywood white middle-aged man and you couldn't tell the difference. It's only 45 minutes long, thankfully, but sometimes a short runtime is a testament to laziness. It's half the runtime of the previous generic holiday special, but quadruple the fucking vanilla. Whoopi Goldberg is back, not appearing as
God this time, but she sure carries the spirit of the first generic holiday special, also directed by Kirk R. Thatcher. Boring, lazy, corporate garbage with fine songs, that's all this is. On the bright side, however, the following year in 2009, there was an official Muppet YouTube channel, which actually managed to make good original YouTube videos. Taking advantage of the Muppets' familiarity with comedic short-form content, kind of like The Muppet Show, but not part of full episodes and with no celebrities. The channel was mainly for advertising projects, but the original YouTube content was not only great marketing to get trailers in your feed and whatnot, but just genuinely good content. The videos are very well produced for a Disney internet show budget. The Muppets cover of Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody being a huge hit with 178 million views, probably their most viewed thing in 10 years. It's more of a flat-out parody than a cover, but it's hilarious. I love the entire verse about the protagonist confessing murder to his mother being censored with Animal realizing that he lost his mama, like physically lost his mama. With it being more of a parody, the censorship of the violent nature of the original song is clever and hilarious. The music videos understood the transformative nature of the song covers of the original show, perfectly building a sketch around the song. The Electric Mayhem and Sam Eagles cover of Kool and the Gang Jungle Boogies is another standout. Since the song consists of instrumentals and one lyrics, Sam disapproves of the nonsense lyrics but joins in over the course of the song, making a fun sketch in tune with the characters' personalities. Unfortunately, the videos kind of stopped trying after 2017 or so, with the primarily non-advertising content being Muppet Thought of the Week, which was just lazy one-off jokes being spammed until they ran out of ideas. Then the channel died with only occasional e-card-like messages like, "Merry Christmas, it's the Super Bowl." It's barely even used for marketing in recent years as of 2024. The good YouTube videos are some of the best Muppet fully Disney created content, and that's not a good thing since it's short form YouTube videos, but they're good by themselves when they try. But it had been apparent that the Muppets had been broken down to its most bankable aspects. They didn't disappear because they made too much money, but not enough money for Disney. But there were two men who realized what the characters had become, and it was their goal to turn it around. Jason Segel from How I Met Your Mama and British-American filmmaker Nicholas Stoller.
Right, every kid of the too young to be a 90s kid, but too old to relate to Jake Paul and Fortnite generation easily remembers Angry The gameplay was easy, the art style and premise was fun, and then they threw the game fucking overboard. Angry Birds, but it's like all the holidays and shit. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Angry Birds Rio, I'll remember that. Fucking Angry Birds, but it's Transformers. Oh, look, Angry Birds, but it's Star Wars. Angry Birds, but it's Feminist Edition. Angry Birds, but it's in fucking space. Angry Birds, but it's Mario Kart. How the fuck are they driving? They don't even have arms or legs. Angry Birds was pretty epic, and Sony, being the money-grubbing piece of shit company that it is, decided that they're gonna make an Angry Birds movie, which was announced in 2013, when it should have came out in 2012, and then the movie came out itself in 2016. Even if there was a 3-year gap between the date of announcement, date of release, it felt like fucking forever. Like, remember the eating Tide Pods thing? That was only, like, the summer of 2018. God damn, that felt like that was a thing like 10 years ago. Then, they eventually made an Angry Birds movie, which nobody asked for at this point. I don't think anyone wanted to see, but people still saw, and people absolutely fucking hated it, but it made a shitload of money somehow, and then, yeah, the movie is a very unique type of fucking disaster. Alright, since the Angry Birds movie sucks pretty hard, there are so many things wrong with it, but the total amount of problems is just fucking insane, but it somehow manages to not be as bad as it could have been. The material that is given, don't get me wrong, it's still fucking awful, but it could have been way worse. But I don't think anyone actually likes this movie because, besides like retards and stupid kids. I saw this movie when I was 12 in the theater. I fucking hated it. Pretty much everyone I know fucking hates this movie. Like, even someone who would find Illumination funny, like your mom, for example, probably hates this movie. Nobody actually likes the Angry Birds movie. So, anyway, let's take another look at the Angry Birds movie, which I talked about previously, but we're going to talk about it again. So we started with Red. So he's showing up as a clown at a children's birthday.
Oh, that's good stuff. Anybody want to eat some cake off their dad or husband?
Proceeds to murder a child and flash his ass, and then we get a montage using his shit. Shows random events in random order for some reason. Which he has to go to bird court, and then he gets sentenced to anger management. Anyway, Red has to go to anger management, where we meet other characters such as CGI Josh, Chuck, lol, he's fast, and Bomb, hey, lol, he blows shit up and he's fucking fat. Oh, and Terrence. Oh, she's a fucking serial killer. This is the only good joke in the whole movie. Terrence's entire gimmick in the original games, he was like the retired hero that's had enough and his shit's about to go down. But I think actually making him like a recovered serial rapist was, that was actually pretty funny. The entire movie isn't shit like this. Anyway, the pigs show up and Red acts like a fucking racist.
Hey, look, they destroyed more of the stuff we worked hard to build.
And they introduce all this stupid shit. It's obvious where they're going with it. And then everybody loves the pigs. And then Red decides to sneak on the ship and is like 100%, yeah, they're gonna destroy the island. They try to inform everybody, but nobody believes him because they think he's a fucking racist. And then Red's like, nah bro, the mighty eagle. And then, so Chuck, Bomb, and Red all go to find the mighty eagle. And none of this goes anywhere. And then we get the notorious pissing scene. Okay, that could have actually been funny if they were in the lake while he was pissing, not directly out of it, watching him do it. Before this, we get all this stupid slow-mo and shit that looks fucking obnoxious. Like, it would have been funny if they were, like, sloshing around all the piss while it was happening, not after they realized that this is often where the piss is dispensed. Then they find the mighty eagle. Instead of the legend he once was, he's just some, like, fat fucking loser. And then they go back to the island, and then, oh no, the pig stole the eggs. Oh, Red was right, holy shit. And then we get to Pig Island, where they actually reenact the game, and then halfway through this, they're just like, fuck it, and it just turns into bullshit happening, and it's so desperate for your child's attention. Everything's way too fast, you can barely tell what's fucking going on. Like, oh, look at this stupid reference. Oh boy, another stupid fucking reference. Oh boy, ripping off X-Men. Oh, and then Red risks his life to get one egg. Oh hey, that totally wasn't fucking stupid at all.
Oh look, he's blushing. I'm not blushing, I'm just red.
You guys, the Angry Birds movie is actually a quality piece of entertainment. This movie fucking sucks. It's a 20-minute plot stretched out to 90 with some of the laziest and unfunny writing. It doesn't even feel finished. It's bad. It's a special type of bad where the absurd amount of problems allows it to not be as bad as it possibly could have been, but it's still fucking awful at the same time. The main thing about this movie that is actually good is the animation. As somebody who grew up with the Angry Birds series of shorts that you could watch on the app or whatever, it would be weird if they were just hopping around the whole movie, so I don't think they look bad with the arms and legs though. But the pigs kind of look disgusting. They are pigs. They have this really reflective rubbery texture that's something similar to the Minions. Anyway, it was a huge hit at the box office, even though everybody fucking hated it. In 2019, at the point where Angry Birds has been dead for like half a decade, we got a sequel to the Angry Birds movie.
Get lazy, everybody gotta get lazy. Get lazy, lazy.
Fucking writers.
Get lazy, everybody gotta get lazy. Get lazy, you get lazy, lazy.
Fucking writers. Hey, we'll actually try to make a good movie.
Really?
Gotcha.
Now, there are two main plots in this movie. The plot of our main characters and the hatchlings plot. Now, let me talk about the hatchling plot. It kind of reminds me of another animated movie. Norm of the North 3.
Here comes the money. Here we go.
Uh-oh, did somebody say Gnome of the North? Oh yeah, that's my favorite movie franchise, the third installment. Yeah, Gnome of the North, bitches.
No, but seriously, this entire fucking hatchling plot is really pointless, much like the wedding plot in Gnome of the North, which is just pointless cutaway bullshit shenanigans where we get the hatchling, who were in the first movie, who were basically trying to be the minions. You know, they got merchandise and a bunch of shorts like this one. Oh, okay. Oh, that's a worm? I thought that was the severed dick. Never mind. People like, oh, they're cute or something. Then they decide to make them main characters in this movie. And then they decide to reenact the events of the first movie, but then they lose the eggs, which are the unborn children of Terrence and Matilda, who are fucking, yes. And no, they did not bring the Terrence as a serial rapist joke back, which would have actually been funny. And every 10 minutes or so, we just cut back to this unfunny bullshit. Look, the eggs are on a cloud. Oh shit, they're in space. Oh god, this better not be setting up an Angry Birds movie 3 where they bring back the Angry Birds space elements. Oh look, they're on an island. And then it's just awful filler to an already awful movie. None of it serves any purpose. They desperately try to tie it in at the end, but it's just fucking stupid. Then we get to the actual fucking plot. So we start out with the birds and the pigs doing unfunny bullshit shenanigans, which basically establishes that the birds and pigs hate each other, in case you forgot, because anyone that even knows what Angry Birds is knows that the birds and the pigs hate each other. That's fact. Oh, and then we get to JoJo Siwa's character in the movie. Okay, so I thought I was done talking about JoJo Siwa for a little bit until the realistic third season of the JoJo and Bobo show comes up, but yes, JoJo Siwa is in the movie. It's only a minor character, and it's only in a few scenes, but if I already hadn't done 2 videos on her, I probably wouldn't even address this. Like, Ian and Anthony from Smosh were in the first one, same thing with Miranda Sings, they both reprised their roles in this one as well. I just didn't bother to address that because I didn't do any videos on these people that were specifically in it, and they're nowhere near as fucking annoying as her in this movie. But as someone who sat through all of her cartoon and recognizes her distinctly obnoxious fucking voice, it is infuriating every time she pops up. She's not in the movie a whole lot, but those seconds that she's in it fucking hurt. Get off the screen, you fucking whore!
On August 14th, there is a really cool movie coming out, and it's called Angry Birds, the movie 2. And I have a little announcement. I'm in the movie!
To be honest, including JoJo Siwa in the movie is kind of a genius marketing strategy. I'm sure we'll encourage plenty of other shitty animated movies to do this. Like, I'm sure a lot of stupid children saw this movie because JoJo Siwa was in it. Also, a great reference, JoJo. I bet every child in the audience understood that. But we learned that there is another island of birds terrorizing both and was established never. Get a shitty crew together, which just does nothing but waste a bunch of time. We have tons of new and old characters joining the shitty crew. But we have the Silver, Chuck's like sister, which he has and was also never established at all. We have the shitty romance subplot with her and Red, which is leading to just tons of awful jokes. Other stupid and pointless characters like Gary, I think is his name. Yeah, this guy on the, yes, this is the actual fucking poster for the movie. I did not Photoshop this. This is the actual poster for the movie. Courtney, I think is her name. I legit could not remember it. I think they only say it like once or twice in the movie. I had to Google it. You know, like Courtney, like the girl from Total Drama. Karen took the kid.
Why the fuck would you not let Harold scream the N-word? That would be epic.
Anyway, they just discover that the third islands exist, and then they realize that it's an island full of ice eagles. And no, they're not like a species full of the ice birds from Angry Birds Space, which would actually be good fan service. Just some random ass fucking eagles that no one gives a shit about. Which gives a good explanation as to why the mighty eagle was the only eagle that they were ever aware of. Well, turns out he's just from a different place that never heard of, and he also somehow never fucking mentioned at all. But then we learn that the mighty eagle used to be engaged to like the fucking evil Nazi dictator of the Bird Island. And then we get this stupid fucking 90s flashback scene, which is beyond confusing to the narrative because the movie portrays him as this is something that happened like centuries ago, but then this flashback goes to the 1990s, which, like I said, is confusing because he's a teenager in the scene. So let's say he was born in the early 80s, which would make sense if he was in high school in the late 90s. Obviously, he wasn't some ultra powerful legend in high school because that's fucking stupid. So when was like his glory days? When was all the shit that he's renowned for supposedly happen? Would that be in like the 2000s, you know, when like the game was actually a thing, maybe? So, of course, this brings up the question, okay, well, we don't know Red's exact age or whatever, or, you know, his biological parents that we don't know of, that I'm sure, ooh, Angry Birds Movie 3, the villain is really his parents or something, oh no. Which I'm sure they're just waiting to use that plot device for something. But like, I'm pretty sure, since it's established that he was a teenager in the 90s, that his biological parents or him would have been alive when he did all this shit. But then we get to the actual heist of the movie, which is just so desperate for your child's attention. It's so fucking lame. It thinks it's cool, but it's actually not. It's just fucking stupid and not funny at all.
Taking us out, man!
Even Glenn's having a good time. Baby shark, baby shark, baby shark,
Silver, baby sharks have taken the bait.
Roger that.
Oh yeah, including Baby Shark in the film. That totally won't make your movie already immediately fucking dated, and it also totally isn't fucking stupid at all. Also, why did JoJo's hatchling and the fucking eagle over here, why do they have the exact same voice?
Even Glenn's having a good time.
I think they just left the mic on, and then like, oh shit, we could actually include that, because we want to give JoJo Siwa more to do, but we can't give her an actual important role in the story because she's a fucking terrible voice actor. And anyway, they successfully stopped the fucking Nazi dictator bird from causing 9/11-2 on both the islands at once. Then her and the Mighty Eagle decide to get back together, and then they get married, and presumably in the span of a few hours. Also, he has a daughter for some reason. They, like, build Mount Rushmore, but with all the characters fake, presumably in real time. Like, how'd you build that in, like, the span of a few hours? That's fucking stupid. Then Red and Silver are together now. Yay. Oh, fucking kill me. Then the Angry Birds movie 2 is a weird one. It's still not the worst movie ever category. Like, most people I talk to don't even know that there is a second Angry Birds movie, probably because the first one's reputation was so bad that nobody wanted to watch the fucking second movie, even if they actually gave a shit and tried to make a good movie. Yeah, but some people actually kind of like this one for some reason, and hey, even people that hate the original one actually do like this. Not a whole lot of people have seen it. It was nowhere near successful. Still made money. There's still probably going to be an Angry Birds 3. We have no official confirmation, but I'm just hoping that there never is one. Look, it even got a 73 on Rotten Tomatoes. I was really shocked when I saw that. That's better than Porn Star, The Legend of Ron Jeremy, which got Anyway, there's one thing we can all do, is that we can all be good Christians, and for one thing, probably turn off this fucking video, and also pray that there is never an Angry Birds 3. Anyway, I'm Dr. Xavier, and I'm signing off.
Rob Schneider, derp de derp.
Actually, Rob Schneider isn't even in these movies. Yes, that's right. They were so low profile that they couldn't get Rob fucking Schneider to return for the sequels.
Derp de derpity derpy derp. Until one day, a derp a derp a derp a derp. Derp de derp, da teedly tum. From the creators of Derp and Tum to Teedly Dumpy Derp, Rob Schneider is da derp de derp da teedly derpy derpy dum.
Santa Buddies is potentially the most epicest movie in the Air Bud cinematic or direct-to-video universe. It has tons of epic snow cinematography, which may remind you of various other movies. What was that movie? Fucking Norm of the North.
Here comes the money.
Oh, did somebody say Norm of the North? Yeah, let's go. My favorite movie franchise, the third. Oh wait, shit, there's a fourth installment. Yeah, Norm of the North, the fourth movie, bitches. Yeah.
The Norm of the North franchise is the definition of a cinematic accomplishment, the original film being released on January 15, 2016, which should honestly be a holiday at this point. It's such a complex and compelling story about a businessman trying to build houses on the Arctic, so then a polar bear, voiced by cinematic legend Rob Schneider, goes to New York and somehow doesn't die of a heat stroke to stop him from doing it. But what makes it so good is that the story also has some amazing and unforgettable characters. The Lemmings, who piss and shit everywhere constantly. And most notably, Olympia, who you may recognize the actress from that fucking awful Mr. Peabody and Sherman movie. But remember that guy that played Sherman in the movie? Well, he actually got a sex change just to play the role, which is such an inspiring move for the BLT community, and way better than any of Disney's attempts, which were obviously just done to be seen as progressive, but not actually as queer characters that are important to the story, and that couldn't be easily edited out for Chinese audiences.
Not easy being a new parent. My girlfriend's daughter got me pulling my hair out, okay?
Oh shit, boys, they did it. BLT community forever.
But the success of the first movie led to the demand of the sequel, but instead of a theatrical release, they decided to make it direct to DVD, because not everyone has the money to go see it in theaters. But they were so generous that they actually put all the material that they had planned for the next 2 movies into just one phenomenal movie. Unfortunately, this was not continued in the 3rd installment, which is still a masterpiece nonetheless, and now is technically the 4th film in the franchise, Norm of the North, King-Sized Adventure. And now, with a 5th installment, or 4th, it could be declared as the best quadrilogy of all time.
Guys, I have to be honest with you. I don't actually like Norm of the North.
Hey, Norm of the North sucks. It's so fucking bad. It easily succeeds at being the most amusingly bad movie franchise that I've ever seen. Now, this movie is liked by no one. There's nothing of any appeal to any degree, to any demographic. Like, who actually likes this movie? Apparently this girl on Twitter does. Oh, look at it, so funny, Norm's doing the Arctic Shake. If you want to hear me go into more detail about the first 3 installments, I'll leave the video at the end and the link in the description below. But anyway, let's look at Norm of the North motherfucking 4. Anyway, Norm's the king of the Arctic, and he's also a fucking idiot, and everyone hates him as a leader. So instead of just making the government communist, he decides to be a girl born after 1993.
Your family will have to wait until you're done with your kingly duties.
Oh, when is that?
After you've heard the last complaint from your subjects.
Honestly, they should just impeach Norm for being such a shitty leader. There are plenty of other people that I think would be great leaders of the Arctic. First of all, my boy Stu Pickles from Rugrats. He goes out of his way to make chocolate pudding at 4 in the morning.
Stu, what are you doing?
Making chocolate pudding.
It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Why on earth are you making chocolate pudding?
Because I've lost control of my life.
He would be a great leader for the Arctic. Even me, I would be a great leader for the Arctic. After all, I do run an Animal Crossing town, which is strictly Nazi. Alright, Harambe, you hiding any Jews in here? Oh my god, you guys, Apple's alive, even though he died in Annoying Orange Episode 1? Like, what the fuck? Oh, hang on, there's this guy. Well, partner, and the way he said that, I think this guy's gay, so yeah, he's going to the camp. Unfortunately, they removed the train station from Animal Crossing New Leaf. It's not in this game, so yeah, I just gotta build Auschwitz on my own really quickly. Hang on, guys.
And can I call you Mr. Poopy Pants from now on?
Yeah, definitely.
He doesn't even fucking wear pants. How could he this movie in them?
Ragnar the First, Olaf the Pungent, even Herman the Meek.
Anyway, in the second movie, Norm becomes the king of the North, and they say that it's the first time that they will accept a new king.
First time, we officially recognize the ascendancy of a new king.
So this line implies that Norm is the second king in the history of the Arctic. If you're doing it for the first time, how are there other kings?
Got a lot of preparations to get ready for the Jubilee, and not a lot of time.
Okay, well, how did you get glasses, you dumb fucking bird? Anyway, Norm is a fucking idiot, and then he loses the crown, and then an endless winter will occur. Anyway, so it turns out that Norm's crown is in China, even though they went to China in the last movie, and surprisingly, they don't reuse assets, which really shocked me. But his family finds out that he's going to China, and they think that he's planning a family vacation to China.
China?
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 Am I saying it wrong? China! China. 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 China.
Oh, Normie, you know I'd be devastated if you got the coronavirus. Keep in mind, the movie stars 5 polar bears, which are incredibly difficult to differentiate from each other, because, like, Quinn, one of the kids, Literally looks like they took like Norm's character model and just shrunk it. And I can't even tell who the other kids are, Chase and Maria. Like, this is also a big problem in Norm of the North 2, especially the scenes where it's only them. Like, they're the exact same character model, you just change the eye color. Like, who's who? I'm not gonna list them because I know I'm gonna get it wrong. Anyway, their boat fucking blows up or whatever, and then they call the Kung Fu Rabbit to get rescued by, and then they go to China. Why is it like the villains from the last movie? Oh, and then we waste a bunch of time doing nothing. Bro, oh my god, it's the bird from Pickles. Anyway, they meet some fucking family, and then we go to dinner with them. But nope, first we gotta watch the lemmings be fucking idiots, and then Norm finds out that this guy stole the crown. But his family sees him as a fucking epic gamer, and of course they're not gonna believe him.
2 days, Norm! We've only got 2 days left! If it gets out that you've lost your crown, everyone's gonna freak out!
Where the fuck is he keeping it? Is it in his ass? Anyway, they find out that Norm lost his crown, so then the Arctic goes fucking apeshit, and we get a bullshit montage, and then the lemmings show up as ninjas. I said it correctly this time, you guys. I guess because China, even though that's Japanese, and then they like build a drill, and then they get Norm.
See? My key is gone.
Huh?
The only people that know where I keep it are me and my... Huh? The twins!
Oh fuck, they stole it. What are we gonna do? Guys, in the 5th installment, they better fucking dress up as Nazis.
And we'll be completely...
Okay, so the first step's a doozy.
Dude, it's not like you have Ricky Berwick disorder. Go help him. What the fuck are you doing? Anyway, then it turns into Indiana Jones, and unfunny bullshit shenanigans ensue, and then they get the crown back.
I'm so sorry I've been such a workaholic. I love you guys so much.
We love you too, Dad.
Yay! Family Guy, the quest for stuff now available on Android and iOS. 100% not product placement. Oh, and then there's still 15 fucking minutes of the movie left. And then they get the crown back, and then yay. And this is honestly the best Norm of the North yet. I'm being serious. It's the shortest, and it's only an hour and 28 minutes instead of the others, which are all an hour and a half or more. But even though it feels like 3 fucking days, and the lemmings are barely in it. In fact, a lot of characters from the previous movies weren't on this. Notably, Olympia and Vera. Like, what the fuck happened to them? Did somebody steal their Lucky Charms? Is that what the next movie's gonna be about? This movie is honestly a disgrace to the BLT community for excluding them this time. And the animation is better. It's still awful, especially the fur textures. And like I said, the movie is set in China, so you would expect them to reuse assets, but they don't. But of course, this brings up the question, this is like this giant animal society. Like, how does this go unnoticed? I guess the color palette is decent in some shots. Still not good, though. At the end of the day, Norm of the North 2 and 3 in one movie is still the worst. Followed with Norm of the North 1, and then Norm of the North 3, the actual Norm of the North 3. And honestly, I give this movie a 10 out of 10, yet another complex masterpiece in the greatest franchise in cinematic history. Didn't come as many times as I did with the previous installments, but it was still extremely hot, and I'm really excited to watch it again, which I'll probably do right now. Anyway, I'm Dr. X Henry, and I remember it, so you don't have to.